The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
Hey everyone, welcome to our ForceCenter commentary for The Last Jedi. I'm Jennifer Landa.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
I'm Ken Knapsack.
And we are ready to watch this film.
That's right, we are going to watch The Last Jedi and talk about it while the movie plays, which is still an amazing thing that people want to see that. This was possible by support from our Patreon patrons, so thank you so much for making this possible.
Absolutely. We appreciate what you guys do over there, supporting us and making these cool things possible, like Joseph just said. But also, I second Joseph's thoughts there, where I'm like, okay, you want to hear us talk about this movie? I'm honored and puzzled in the most delightful way.
Exactly.
But it would make sense, Joseph, because The Last Jedi, we should say up top, the three of us really enjoy this movie.
That's right. I'm sure we'll have some moments of being critical, but if you're coming here because you're not a fan, which is understandable, plain reasons that people wouldn't be fans of Last Jedi, spoiler, we will love it. We will love it thoroughly, and with a few caveats here and there.
Right. And Jennifer, you've got some little backup research.
I do, because I don't have my phone, but I do have the visual dictionary, so I might be checking some of the Canto Bight patron names.
I will turn to Joseph every time one of them comes up that I do not know how to say.
Right, exactly.
You're uniquely tuned to alien creatures in the background, Joseph.
I try my best to keep my eye out for my favorite weirdos in the background.
That's it. So we're going to dive on in. And if you're just swinging through here and checking out, we are, of course, from the ForceCenter podcast feed. You can check that out. We'll have information in the descriptions here on YouTube or at the end of the experience here as well. So I think without further ado, we are watching it off of the Blu-ray. Is this a special edition Blu-ray, Joseph? Like
Nope.
4K?
Nope, this is just the Blu-ray. I'm sure there will be the extra special Blu-ray, the We Want More Money From You Blu-ray edition coming out soon, but this is the normal one.
Okay.
So syncing up is always an interesting challenge. We're on the title screen right now. We're going to press play here in 3, 2, 1. Let's do. It gave us the. It's going.
It's happening.
2, 1. Perfect. We've got the FBI anti-piracy warnings. Sync it up to that on your home.
That's always been my favorite part of all films. The warnings.
The warnings.
It starts off with the warning. You could be arrested.
Yes. Here we got
The logo.
beautiful logo.
The light in the darkness playing across the logo. Already the thematic work.
I miss theater crowds cheering to this. I'm always bothered. Oh, there we go. I'm always bothered when the crowd doesn't clap for a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
How could you not?
There's still such debate about do you save your applause for the big Star Wars,
Right.
you know?
I think
people
there's
get trapped.
Polite applause, bigger applause, and then screams for this.
Yeah.
There's always so much anticipation before the crawl comes up. You know, what is it going to be? And I felt like this was an excellent crawl.
Yeah, I like the crawls that start with short, punchy sentences.
Exactly.
The First Order reigns.
Yep.
Period.
Luke Skywalker has vanished! Exclamation point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
nice.
that was great.
Not even period. Exclamation point.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple wording. I'm not trying to, we come back, crawl. I missed that.
Yeah, and certainly for the annals of history, all of us debating before this movie came out exactly how it would handle the lack of a time jump, not much of a
Right.
time jump
Right.
from the Resistance side, no time jump on the Luke and Rey side. And I thought that this crawl did that elegantly.
Yeah. Great setup here. They're mounting a desperate escape. That's good Star Wars words.
Desperate escape. And like all of the sequel trilogies so far, the clear political state or reality of the galaxy communicated in the crawl. Maybe debatable that it should be communicated better in the movie, but it's there in the crawl that they're taking military control.
Right.
And I believe Rian Johnson actually consulted a friend of his who is very good at English, a writer of some sort, a fellow writer.
A word person.
A word person to be able to make sure the grammar was all excellent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We got the echoes of New Hope, the sounds there.
Yeah.
And
we
the pan down, I
always-
love this push-in.
Yeah, I love the pushing. We always wonder how they're going to start every movie. You're going to pan up, pan down, pan
Right.
sideways.
Right.
Abrams looked kind of straight up.
Yeah.
This one, woof.
And I was also waiting to see if they would do anything like the original trilogy always started with the Star Destroyer, if they were going to manage to do that again here. But nope.
I am fascinated with a lot of stuff in the new trilogy, seeing spaceships from planet level looking up into the
Right.
skies.
Mm-hmm.
TIE fighters, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
We should also say that for our own ability to hear, we in C, we have the subtitles on.
Yeah.
The captions, which also have just a lot of fun things in them. So we might comment on them as we go, like distant boom.
I love that alarm blaring type of thing they say. It's like, what is that? So we had seen this, guys, before the previews. We knew there was going to be a dreadnought. Did it live up to your expectations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it is using all of the language of film, the noise, the sound, the everything to make it really seem like this ship is an extra problem, which in Star Wars, when you always have bigger and meaner ships, is challenging. And I think it's done well to make it seem like this is truly a problem.
There we
Happy
go.
beeps.
Happy beeps.
By the way, check out Happy Beats from Happy Beeps from Jennifer Land every other Friday on ForceCenter.
I was really curious if BB-8's words would have been translated, since that was the significant line of "I've got a bad feeling about this."
Right. And they did actually translate it for the voice actors. What was it? Ben Schwartz and Bill Hader.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like all of this dialogue for Hux is really well done to sell this whole General Hugs joke, where if that dialogue didn't feel both honest and over the top, the way actual zealots talk, that contrast wouldn't work between the relaxed, flowing Poe Dameron and the super uptight Hux.
So we've talked about in ForceCenter before that the humor is used very well in this movie to intentionally undercut the villains in a way, and undercut's kind of a weird word to use, I guess, but to highlight the fact that, like you said, Joseph, they are zealots, they are based off fear and anger.
Yeah,
this is the first big swipe at it,
right?
And it didn't hit with a lot of people. I understand why. It took me maybe a second viewing to be like, okay, we got some jokes, we got some phone jokes.
Yeah,
absolutely. The very first one, I was like, oh no, I like General Hux. Are we taking him seriously? And then, as soon as I thought about it, and definitely the second viewing and every viewing after, I love it more and more. I think he plays it so incredibly well.
Right.
And it is the truth from the outside. When you are super angry and super obsessive and super sure about everything, you sound like a dolt.
Right. It also echoes The Force Awakens with Poe and Kylo Ren. Who you're going to talk first? I'm going to talk first.
Yeah.
So to me, it felt natural for Poe's character.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Moden Kennedy, right, Ken? That's the first name?
I just love this guy. Mark Lewis Jones, Shagga from Game of Thrones. Just old school Empire. Can't believe he's working with these rookies.
Exactly. That's what it says in the official dictionary. He's the eldest one of the crew, kind of annoyed that he has to deal with these youngsters.
You all eventually hit that age, where you get the boss who's younger than you and you're trying to...
Yes, you should have sent out the TPS reports 10 days ago. Yeah, I feel like so much of the sequel trilogy, and I'm really hoping it comes home in Episode 9, really is about this younger generation living in the shadow of 2 generations of war with the Clone Wars and the Empire. And I think even little things like Kennedy being older and smarter, having been through more battles, reminds you of the young kids don't know quite what to do in a world of war.
Right. For better or worse.
I also love the red lighting with Kennedy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the whole like submarine vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Billy Lord gets to yell, "Punch it!"
One of the 87 people who gets to yell "punch it" in The Last Jedi.
Poe's a bad guy. He's a bad boy.
Listen to Leia, Poe.
She had such peace in her voice of like, yep, that's all we needed. She does such an amazing performance with every little thing.
Yes.
And this is, the first little lesson comes in for The Last Jedi. This is, you'd normally expect the general will be like, yeah, go get him.
Right. That got a huge laugh in the audience when I first watched it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
One thing I'm fascinated to watch as we were talking through this too is how much Last Jedi does do, I think, some of the same things that Empire Strikes Back does. It just points at them.
Yeah.
Like the Hoth battle to escape, everything they're doing is kind of futile. They take down some walkers, but it's just to buy time.
Yeah.
It's not pointed out as an error. I mean, I think there's more going on here than that, but it's interesting to compare the beats and how some things are similar, but not pointed at in Empire, and they're just highlighted in The Last Jedi.
Right. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here we go.
Cobalt
We're
Squadron.
all very
coming
excited
up.
about this.
Yeah, these ships just look cool as hell, right?
Yes.
Beautiful shot. There's so many beautiful shots in
So
this movie.
cool.
The World War II B-50, B-1, B-52, excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, when they play Love Shack, yeah.
Hi, Tally.
Tally.
Tally Lintra. Yeah, we've talked about Tally a lot on the podcast. Just
Yeah.
very small role, full of energy and life.
The casting on these pilots is so great.
Well, and that's the older white gentleman's one of the visual production guys.
Oh,
Okay.
right,
He's in the
right.
documentary,
Right.
the director
And
of
then
Jedi.
there went
That's
J. Chris
right.
Tubbs.
Yes.
Yes.
Not James Corden.
Not James
Not
Corden,
James
like
Corden.
I really thought.
Great
James
shots.
Corden is in everything these days.
Yeah.
So. Ken, how much of your appreciation of Kennedy is that great voice? It is like
It's-
classic military authoritarian, but with a little bit of gravy.
It's that gravitas, and I just like that. There's some. He's not fully on board. He's on board with maybe the First Order's big mission, but he's grumpy at work, and I can respect that.
It really does sound like, well, I ordered my steak medium rare, but I guess I'll eat this.
Yeah. And this is the name of the bomber I will never remember, but Joseph will.
H. Tico?
Nick's
no,
Jerd.
sorry.
Yeah. Cost me a schmodown.
Oh.
That's right. So for people who aren't familiar with the movie Trivia Schmodown, there's a Star Wars thing, and Ken and I recently competed in it. For both of us, the last time we watched Last Jedi, we watched it in that context. So it's really fun to watch this scene and not be pausing constantly to try to count the number of bombers on screen in case they ask.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
How did you both feel the first time you saw this? As you were watching it, did you feel like it was heroic, or did you have that moment in the pit of your stomach that Leia said this was wrong, this shouldn't be happening now?
Great question. My first viewing was, wow, what an awesome sequence. The good guys are striking back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't, the lesson didn't take hold for me.
Yeah.
It was just cool Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted them to go towards the danger because I certainly wouldn't.
Well, and that is part of what this is. It's I don't think it's disrespectful to Star Wars, but it's examining. It's a deconstruction.
Yeah.
And that we've always been trained from Han Solo, from everybody. Yeah, run toward the danger.
Right.
So it's an interesting playing with our expectations.
The sound in this sequence is so powerful. I remember getting really emotional. And the actress, Veronica Nyo, fantastic performance.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah. And in great Star Wars tradition, tasteful use of blood. Just that little bit of bloody nose to remind you that this is war. She's in pain.
Yeah. Great just use of slow motion, which doesn't get used a lot in Star Wars.
Yeah.
The sound.
The sound and lack of sound in Last Jedi is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Activator bleeps, the most heroic subtitle ever. And then they are drawn because they're magnetic. Don't worry, it's okay.
Tally.
There we go, Tally. What a great shot.
Yeah.
World War II inspired.
I feel like the actor who played Tally, Hermione, not Granger,
No,
Corfield.
yes.
Hermione Corfield,
Yes.
should be brought into every future Star Wars movie to teach cockpit acting.
It is a true skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she just moves her head more. Like, if you could,
Yes.
you can't just say that to an actor. Like, you get in that cockpit and move your head around a lot.
Right.
But she does, and she sells it so great.
That look on Kennedy's face before he dies is the best look in Star
Oh,
Wars.
yeah, like, he feels like he's going to turn to the camera and go, I knew it.
Of course I'm dying.
Right. This is such a great performance by Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
So here we got what we consider Star Wars victory, right? We got victory. They took down the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, the Fulminatrix dreadnought.
Right.
Let's get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo, love that.
Groans. I think Poe's going to have a lot of groaning subtitles.
Right.
In that face.
Lysa Arryn.
Gulp.
See, that's just so great to like just if somebody who can't admit flaws trying to cover it, that's exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
Inhales shakily.
So here, we had yet to see Snoke and up front, clear and center, with those eyebrows. We're still getting the hologram Snoke.
But this was a frightening hologram. And just
Yes.
even that motion of dragging him, I was like, okay, yeah, I am terrified of Snoke now. Because in The Force Awakens, it didn't have that scary vibe for me.
Yeah, he's like kind of scary Wizard of Oz where he's just like, I've got some thoughts.
Right.
It missed, yeah. So with the original cut, and I think even in the novel, this kind of happens before the battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was the opening shot, I believe.
Yeah, and he decided it was a little too experimental.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about the spurting Bacta suit?
I love it.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He just looks so disheveled.
He's like so sad and lost. That that walk from John Boyega sells it.
Yes.
And again, we get, funny little comedy,
Right.
and it's immediate sincerity from Finn.
Mm-hmm.
That is my favorite bit of silence. I think even we've got some amazing silences coming up, but just how do you start this with a bang, the movie with a bang, then get back to Luke and Rey without any time, but give it that huge weight, and it connects so strongly to what Finn's whole journey is going to be in this movie of just everything drops out with Where's Rey?
So here we go. The moment we waited, 2 years to see?
Yes.
This was it. All the speculation.
Hear those
he
beautiful
gonna
little
do?
servos in his mechno hand.
Stuff shot before the actual movie was done with pre-production.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the first thing that Mark Hamill and Daisy Ridley are shooting, right?
Yeah.
Gee,
All right.
there we go.
There's a perfect amount of waiting before he threw it.
I'd never really noticed how much she has a look of knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Of waiting for what wise thing he's going to say.
Right.
So that's the first big challenge moment, Joseph Jennifer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I still wish he dropped it.
Oh, as opposed to throwing it?
Throw it over his shoulder because it reads more comedically than I think they intended, but I don't know.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with that criticism. I'm fine with it the way it is, but I think a softer touch might have worked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the movie it comes in with some comedy that we maybe weren't expecting with Hux, Finn's leaking, all this stuff.
Yep,
And
it's
so
bigger, it's bolder, yeah.
It reads as comedy, but if you watch the documentary, I don't think they intended it as comedic as it comes across.
I don't think they
No.
intended it at all. And I
Yeah.
think
No.
for people who do have problems with The Last Jedi, and like I talked to somebody this past weekend as we were recording who's only seen it once. And I think, for people who do have a problem with it, it does feel a little like we're throwing away your expectations. Right. And I don't think that's the way it's intended. I think it's just about Luke's character. This is hilarious to me.
It's one of my favorite Star Wars moments ever. It's
the
just
Porg lightsaber.
the anticipation of violence that never comes.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you feel about the toss, Jennifer?
I do wonder if they did other takes of it where he kind of more gently tossed it, and maybe they chose this particular take for a specific reason because it is a little bit more dramatic and theatrical. I just think that's Mark Hamill, as an actor.
Yeah, I also think it's Luke Skywalker trying to say to Rey, look, I have no interest in this.
Yes, it's shutting it down completely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think the meta commentary to the audience was probably not intended, is my guess.
Right.
And it's what I think a lot of audiences focus on.
I loved it. I loved a grand moment like that.
Yeah.
A grand statement.
Yeah, the moment works for me still. The end of 7 is one of my favorite endings in Star Wars. It gets me emotional thinking about it. Rey up there, but that doesn't mean it has to go the way I thought it was in terms of Luke grabs the lightsaber, ignites it, and says, let's go fight. We have a movie then. We have no story, no conflict.
I love that, this is an obvious thing, but the where's Han, the emotional weight of that, and then cutting to his son's masked face, knowing that we know where Han is.
Yeah.
I also like that this is Snoke predicting how he himself is going to die.
Right.
Right. Circus is so good.
Jennifer, you are a big costume person, design person. How do you feel about the glittery golden robe of Snoke?
It is a bold statement. It is confident. And I loved the choice. And in the visual dictionary, it talks about those famous slippers that he wears, the gold slippers. It's because he values comfort. And I think he also values a little bit of flair.
And the ring, again, comes from what?
Mustafar's castle.
Mustafar, the castle underneath.
Yeah.
And something else, right? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
It's combined with something else,
It's obsidian on top.
So he's
and
going
then
to kill
it's
some
gold.
White Walkers. We got that, yeah.
Yeah. I think this whole manipulation while we're looking up ring, you got it, Jennifer?
Mm-hmm, it's gold etched with glyphs of the Dwarty.
Oh, well, Glyphs of the Dwarty. We all know that. That's my favorite Tolkien novel. Yeah. This whole manipulation truth from Snoke about Kylo being a failed version of Vader, that he brought him in because he wanted him to be the power of the bloodline. Obviously, we assume that Kylo was upset because he couldn't live up to Han, Leia, Luke. He turned to Vader, and now he's being told that he failed Vader.
Right.
I think that's really important to recognize. That's where all the kill the past stuff comes from.
Yeah.
From the villain.
Yeah. Not the theme of the movie.
I also loved his line, bested by a girl who had never held a lightsaber. I felt like that was actually what a lot of the audience had been saying up until that point.
Right.
So,
and again, I don't, Johnson writes that script before Force Awakens even comes out, but I think the moment, it's a little bit of an answer to the question of, I think she's got her own skills and she's chosen in her own way, a different kind of way. But he also was injured. Chewbacca put a bowcaster bolt in his side.
You see him pounding his chest.
Yeah, and then I loved the moment where Snoke just sort of confirmed, because I choose to believe him, that the act of killing Han didn't focus his rage the way you'd need your rage focus to be powerful in the dark side. It unbalanced him.
Right.
So he did this awful thing, and he didn't even get what he wanted out of it.
This transition here, when he smashes that helmet, he's looking at the helmet. It's like he's literally shattering his past. And I feel like he's going from kind of whiny teenager to now really frightening villain that I would never want to see in an elevator.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, elevators are a frustrating place, but this is too far, right? I love his hunched walk.
Yes.
And they get it perfect in Battlefront 2, by the way.
They do.
But man...
Yeah, no. Even if in episode 7, he's got the hunch, the stamping of the feet, the famous shot from the trailer that didn't make the movie from behind, where he ignites the blade for the first time on the trailer. He's so good as an actor.
Yeah,
he uses every part of his being.
Yeah. And now here, of course, we have the line that sets up the end of the film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when you both first saw this, did you have a feeling of like, yes, please do that, like many fans, or did you just feel intrigued and pulled in of like wanting to know where Luke is coming from?
I will say I was immediately intrigued by where his mind was, and that why he had walked away and all that kind of stuff. But I took it as, I didn't tell you it was necessarily think it was a prediction of the plot, but just like, yeah, well, he's right. Like they need more than him. It's more, there's something beyond it.
Yeah.
Beyond his head.
And I feel like the choice of laser sword was so purposeful, like lightsaber. Yes. And George Lucas, I think, in his life vacillated. I think he named it lightsaber, and then I think he kind of wanted to rename it laser sword, but realized that world would not go along with him.
Yeah.
So I like using it as specifically like a pejorative for lightsaber.
A very controversial scene here.
Yeah.
But I love it. And I love that they actually flew in this giant puppet to the island. That is incredible.
It says creature whining, but I thought it said creature winning for a second on the subtitles.
That is good.
That is a great shot with depth to it.
Absolutely.
Luke's grimace of, this is what it's like, kid. This is the hero you think you're getting. It's this guy.
It's just disconnecting the real practical from romance in every way. Like Rey is staring at that Thala-Siren like, oh, what a beautiful exotic creature. And then the Thala-Siren just turns back and is like, no, green milk comes out of my breasts and then I shoot moisture from my nostrils because I'm just a creature that exists with physical needs and whatnot.
And their green milk is very nutritious, apparently,
Of course,
according to the visual dictionary.
Luke learned to fish in Legend of Luke Skywalker.
That's right.
right.
We got the history of that from a book.
Yeah. I'm concerned about Skywalker's back, though. He's sleeping on that, rock bed.
That's right. Maybe he uses the Force for good posture. I mean, he's disconnected from the Force now, but I feel like my posture would be better if I could tap into the Force.
What's your Force number? Sleep number?
That's right. His midi-chlorian count is off the charts, and so is his Force sleep bed number. Now, this is the intrigued by the whole movie, obviously, just the power of seeing Mark Hamill back and his amazing performance. But this is the part where I think I started vibrating, where my organs almost passed through my chest because I was so excited of getting into this deep Force stuff and now connecting Rey's journey to Luke's journey, and it's so great that this is where he gets hooked.
These Force, I don't want to say this is a Force tree. It's not necessarily the same one in Shattered Empire, at least to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fascinated with these kind of old magical trees.
They're all the Uneti, right?
Yeah, I think they all are. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if it's. We know one went with Sheriff Bay, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And Luke had plans for the other.
I also just love that that's the whole library.
That's it.
We never planned to write another book, said the ancient Jedi. These 8 or 9, that's good.
We're good from there.
And that shot of him walking in the shadows.
Yeah, they're just that small, just visually, it goes along with the movie. They're just that small bit of light.
Mm-hmm. And fascinating here, we knew we were kind of getting this. This shot was in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
Right.
Written word not used a lot in Star Wars. Obviously, we don't see a lot of it.
Yeah.
Holograms and HoloNet news, all that kind of stuff.
And that was a real, I think, just seeing that Jedi logo, that started in the EU, right? Mm-hmm. And made its way here. That, I think, is one of the many moments in this film that is an absolute celebration of the legacy of Star Wars in a even metatextual way.
Yeah, Jen, you laugh. It's another little funny little line and moment, but mixed with sincerity. It was balanced for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he plays it so well.
I think this is one of Daisy Ridley's finest moments, too.
Yeah, you get the sense that she has to really think, because this is the first time that she's had time to stop and think for herself. Yeah. What is the truth?
She's been on the run.
Right.
Go, go, go.
She plays it so well.
Fear.
Yeah. I think it's so great. Jennifer, how do you feel about this? This feels like it's a reminder of, imagine that you suddenly had magical powers and no one else did, in the responsibility of that.
Yeah, and she can literally feel it within her, and she's afraid that it could go very bad. She needs someone to guide her to be able to control it in some way.
Yeah.
She's already been exposed to Kylo. She sees what happens. She knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think she necessarily thinks, well, that could happen to me, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
Well, in what we saw pretty directly at the end of Force Awakens is she was able to beat Kylo when she let go, when she sort of opened herself to letting the Force guide her actions. So she hasn't had that experience of, I'm really dictating what I do with the Force.
Now, in some of the deleted scenes, there's a different cut where this scene is preceded by Luke dealing a little bit more directly with Han's death. And I do like that moment with Luke, but I think the pacing works better here. Mm-hmm. It's a great moment in the comics. The Gary Whitta adaptation. Look at the Radis.
Okay, so we, of course, have seen that they did this take, 8,000 times?
The super cut of it, yeah.
What do we think the story of that is? Why do you think they need... What was Carrie Fisher, Oscar Isaac not nailing when he got slapped in the face 87 times?
A good slap is tough, even with Foley and stuff later on. You got to get it right. But you got to wonder if Carrie Fisher was just let me do it again.
And Oscar Isaac was on board.
I would let the late great Carrie Fisher slapped me 25 times for a scene to get it right. That being on.
Yeah. I also feel like obviously there was the deleted scene where Poe expressly said that he stitched up his jacket for Finn. But I think that's another sign of utter respect from Rian Johnson to The Force Awakens and following up on tiny details.
Yeah. Oh, Akbar.
That woman was in a Black Mirror episode.
Oh.
Oh, really?
So fantastic. Yes, the first episode, U.S.
Again, another great sound upon entering the scene. These ships have great intros. Interesting here, too. I think in the Jason Fry's novel, there's a moment where Finn feels bad that he hasn't told them what's in the First Order's armada.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that is a great moment. And I think you have room in a book to highlight who knows what and how much information, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things Finn can't go, guys, I feel really bad about this.
Right.
But here's my
I should've told
PowerPoint
you.
presentation of all the other ships that could be coming.
That's something you could explore in a live-action TV show, which is what I am excited
Oh,
about
yeah.
in the future.
Or even probably in the animated show of Resistance, we'll probably get
Right.
a lot more of this, of what the Resistance knows about the First Order and what they don't.
The Raddus taking the hits, the Silencer. This is one of the finest ships in Star Wars, that TIE Silencer.
Absolutely. And he must have gone to school with Hermione Corfield because Kylo does some great cockpit acting, too.
There it is.
Oh,
A
the-
little smirk.
Goodbye,
Yeah.
Tally.
Is she related to Lando and L337?
Teach me your smirk, Tally. Smirk in school.
So, the one cruiser's gone right away.
Right? In which we keep... I was going to try to remember which one, but that's past
I
me.
know it's not the Ninka.
No, the Ninka survives because that's Holdo ship, right?
Yeah.
It would make sense that Kylo was a good pilot.
Yeah.
Make a ton of sense between Vader and Solo. He has to be like the best pilot in the galaxy, right? And he also knows these ships, right? So he knows how to zip in
Yes.
and just cripple this capability.
Oh, BB-8.
I remember being frightened and upset when BB-8's head came off. Of like, you can just put that back on, right? Right?
Let me tell you, I have the Sphero BB-8. That head never stays on.
But there's his little bent antenna.
Oh, yeah.
And this is, of course, our first sign here that things aren't going to go well. People are going to die.
Yeah.
You said people are going to die?
Yeah. I love that Leia is very knowledgeable. It goes back to like Empire Strikes Back where she's the one who knows it's an Imperial probe droid. Of like, she knows her stuff.
Right. Love buzzing the tower.
That's
Love
right.
that moment.
Just to let you know, I'm going to shoot you in a second.
Yeah.
Or am I?
Great stuff here. And look, Kylo doesn't do it. He doesn't pull the trigger.
I really didn't know in this moment. I thought, is this it?
Yeah, and I love the way that cut is very similar to things like in Empire Strikes Back between Luke and Leia that we've seen before. That kind of Force connection.
Yes, absolutely. He doesn't do it,
No.
but one of his friends does.
How important do you think that moment is for Episode 9? Do you think that is a key to the possibility of redemption?
Yes, it could be one of the only little moments you go to and go, well, he had that in him, in his heart at that time. What was the doubt about? You know?
Yeah.
So rest in peace, Akbar at this time.
Right.
We say goodbye to him on our YouTube page.
That's right.
An
And-
excellent one.
And I wrote that to explain that I think Ryan, from my point of view, did the right thing, the tough thing. I didn't need a moment where we wave at Akbar one final time.
No, I don't think so either.
It's war. It's real. That's what happened.
Right.
Yep. And on a practical level, they do need to diminish their leadership so that we can have these relationships,
Yes.
these stories develop.
Okay, now this is another controversial moment that I loved.
Yeah. I've never had a problem with this. This has been, for me, a decades-long dream fulfilled of seeing Leia
Here.
truly powerfully use the Force.
You and Mark Riley are right there on that moment here. I will admit it took me a bit to think about it.
Yeah.
So by the time I saw it the second time, I was on board for this moment. It did look initially to me slightly awkward, but you You, Riley, and Jen, you're there too. Just like, this is a long time coming.
It's that
Childhood
moment. It's that the
dream come
hand
true.
reaches before her eyes even
Yeah.
open. It's so Force-like. It's so just like, open yourself up, let
Right.
go, let it in. And it is just that desire to be like, that reach out with your hand. I'm not done. And that's so powerful to me that gets past any sort of like, oh, it's CGI, blah, blah, blah.
Let's go through the supremacy there. A little foreshadowing.
Yeah, I love that moment that she cuts through the supremacy right where Holdo does.
Yes.
PZ Forcio.
Yeah.
Has fought on Databank Brawl.
Yep. The droid that records Leia's memories, her diary. So maybe PZ Forcio is like, as soon as you wake up, tell me what that was about.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Yeah, and I felt the first time watching it, at that moment, the Leia moment, there was a palpable, like, I don't know, people weren't right. That was the first moment I felt the crowd was like, huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and you're talking about, you attended the premiere.
At the premiere, yeah.
Okay, some of the gold standard of Star Wars comedy here for me. All of these Porg books. And yet, there's one more.
And this was
with the
I
trembling lip.
loved
The one
that they
gets
kept
me.
pushing it. I mean, look at the close up.
It gets through the eyes. Flies. I'm all
They
aboard.
just, yeah, there's so many risks taken. And that's such a small comedic moment that is kind of risky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being
Well-
too cutesy. But
And remember, again, that's written, and this is a beautiful moment I want to take from it. That's written years before we all started joking about porgs being eaten. So Ryan felt
Right.
weirdly bad that he put that
And
point in there.
again, it's a big, bold joke that might be too big or too bold for some people. But again, it connects back to the vision Rey's going to have in a moment of the natural cycle of life and death.
I will say, looking at these die right now, and just having seen Solo not that long ago, it does actually have a lot more weight. Even though I knew what the die were when I obviously saw this film,
But now seeing that connection to Han,
because with Kira, and it has so much more emotional weight to it
I'm
because
telling
of
you,
Solo.
man, I wish JJ didn't cut that scene now.
I
Yeah.
know.
and this is great too, as people have pointed out recently. The Hey Sacred Island, watch the language, the direct confirmation, which we've had before, but super direct of R2 swears all the time.
What?
Even the tone that he takes with his old droid is just perfect.
To me, it sounds like he's convincing himself. You know, when you don't want to do something and you convince yourself by being more strong with other people.
Yep. It was me trying to go to a party last night.
Were you saying you were going to go or you weren't?
Not going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm going.
And this is not just like fan service nostalgia. It connects back to what Rey had been saying to Luke of, Leia sent me here with hope. She deserves to know why not.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he decides. Like, okay, I'm not going to train you to be a Jedi, but I'm going to tell you why I'm not coming back.
Right.
A lot of what he says about the Jedi to me still makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's one of my favorites, Larma Daci.
Yes.
Daisy, damn it. My favorite, whose name I always say wrong.
She also was in a great Databank Brawl.
She
Yes.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fun
classic.
one.
2BB2 back there, the little blue droid.
Right.
I'm sure he'll show up in.
Over Dan.
Dan was in a great Databank Brawl. For people who are just watching this on YouTube, Databank Brawl is a podcast we do where we have random Star Wars characters fight. It is ridiculous and fun. Check it out.
There you go.
Yeah, look at Over Dan back there, big weirdo.
There's been a lot of talk about Holdo's outfit. It actually is because she has a strong devotion to her homeworld
Right.
of Gatalenta, which is why she wears this attire, why her hair is purple.
Right.
Yeah, and also like the Resistance Rebellion should look different than the sort of stiff First Order Empire.
Right.
There should be more expression. That's what this is about.
Look at Mon Mothma.
Yeah, I guess going to Mon Mothma, I never thought of what she was wearing as a uniform.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I
Although I would love to see General Madine wearing the same thing. That'd be great
Absolutely.
fun. But
I just never for a second questioned what she was wearing in this. Or Leia.
Yeah,
for
right.
that matter, too.
Right.
I could, to be honest, I was not a huge fan of Leia just wearing simple drab BDU vest in Episode 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It was drab.
Didn't jump off the screen to me, you know?
No,
And not that Leia always wore big fancy dresses or anything like that. Obviously, Hoth Leia, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She combat poncho Leia. I understand that, but
But there's a regalness
Yeah.
in this particular Last Jedi outfit that I love.
Yeah.
space jewelry.
I appreciate what they were trying to do of like, okay, she's not a princess with exotic hair. You know, we're going to get away from some of those ideas, and she is a general in charge. But I feel like Last Jedi did do a better job of marrying all of the aspects of Leia's character.
Yeah. And I guess at the end of 7, I will give them credit. She was in that dress. So
Amazing dress.
it does connect.
Yeah.
Not saying anything bad about what JJ did.
Yeah.
Right. I love that she calls him a flyboy.
Yeah.
And look, I'll just say this. I already felt the heat between them right here. All
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I loved it. To me, it felt like a 1940s film, you know.
Yeah, and his reaction there of like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
I also really like about Holdo's speech before we go too far that she doesn't give specifics, but she says exactly what she means of like, we need to survive to be the spark to convince other people to keep fighting. That's our mission. We're not going to try to strike back. We're just going to try to survive.
Right.
You see the little shuttles back there, too. I didn't really ever notice that.
Oh, yeah.
The shuttles that they'll take eventually.
Yeah, and those are in that opening shot too, right?
Yeah, correct.
Hazy and Smelt.
Kelly Marie Tran had the pleasure of meeting her at the after party, and that couldn't be just a more bright center of a universe type of personality.
Yeah, was she just very gregarious, friendly, saying hello to everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Grateful, happy.
Her reaction is so great.
Yeah.
It's sometimes how I feel even when I podcast.
I feel like
words come out first before
Right.
my mind chooses.
Yeah, doing talking might catch on. I think is a good Star Wars quote. I also like that the sequel trilogy is building up the idea of myths, like how much do the other characters know about the actions of the other characters. We know that Luke and Han and Leia have become myths, Luke in particular, but it's cool to see like within days, Finn has become a mythical First Order stormtrooper who, you know, abandoned and went heroically to Starkiller Base. That's really cool to know. That's how the galaxy works.
Yeah.
There's so much great comedy here.
I think Boyega is really funny, and I've heard some people say Finn's just a comic relief character, and I think that's incorrect, but he is damn funny, so...
It's just he's naturally funny. He's certainly not like playing at it.
Yeah.
No, I think he's playing the truth of a person who is a little socially awkward. And I mean, and now we've kind of got this matchup with, I love that way she puts her stun gun back.
Right.
We've got this matchup with the two of them where they're very similar in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Finn's been, and still even here, kind of faking it in a lot of ways, you know? He's on board for Rey. He's not on board for the Resistance.
That is his motivation. Exactly.
Yeah, and just has a little bit of a nihilistic attitude because he knows the truth of how powerful the First Order
You
is.
want to be a little more positive there, buddy?
Yeah, and I think this was also a little bit of a bump for some people too, because there's nothing in The Force Awakens that says Finn has signed up with the Resistance, right?
Right.
Correct.
But we had 2 years to think of them as like, oh, our Resistance team is formed, so he's got to be on board right now. And like, well, this makes perfect sense. There's no reason. This is exactly in line with where he was at the end of Force Awakens, just trying to save Rey.
Right.
There is the handoff of the scripts is when you really stop and think about it. And we all love Force Awakens, but JJ hands Ryan these characters that are not yet, their journey's not done.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's forgotten, and the fact that it's only a matter of days later is sometimes forgotten too. What you suggest is insightful. We had 2 years to think about it.
Yeah.
These characters are still thinking about it.
And I think it's a legitimate debate that a lot of people are having fun having of like, should these two movies have been squished together so much? But given that they are, unlike A New Hope and Empire, there's not time in between for these characters to grow together.
Right.
Yeah, in the end, I really do love the choice of just picking right up.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah, I guess you could have done something where, like at the end of Empire, that Rey and Chewie had to search for Luke still. Like, we have the coordinates, but it's still going to take us a year to get there.
Right. Right. I like the space hospital gowns they got there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wonder if everybody has them or if Leia has that too. Of like, if I get sick, here's my sick dress.
I was really excited about this part, knowing that they were going to go on a mission to a casino that we had seen in the trailers. I was really excited. And I still really like this storyline.
You mean the storyline of Rose and Finn having their mission and Poe coming up with a crazy plan?
Yes. And let's talk about this.
Yes.
No, you guys, I loved this sequence with Maz.
I am okay with it.
Yeah, right.
I don't dislike it because I love the character of Maz Kanata a lot.
Yeah, I loved seeing Maz. I was a little disappointed that we didn't have more Maz.
Yes, agreed.
And I do have to accept it as tip of the iceberg storytelling that when something in Star Wars doesn't have as much information as I want, like, great, I'll read about it in a book or a comic or get to discuss it with fans because I am a little, like...
Yeah.
Oh, the master code breaker.
Yes.
So great.
And to the question that comes up a lot of like, well, could this have been Lando? It could have been Lando, but then is that all you wanted with Lando?
No.
A little cameo.
Yeah, exactly. If Lando is told Leia is in terrible, terrible trouble, their son, who you know since birth, murdered your old friend Han Solo, and Leia's in deep, deep trouble. No, I'm sorry. I'm busy at the casino.
Yeah, union dispute.
A union dispute with my droids. That's not the Lando we know, I don't think.
No.
I also will say about that Maz Kanata, I love the writing there. The poet with the blaster line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything she says is great. The jetpack is great. Another, there's so many scenes of just like a hole of light.
Yes.
Which is both kind of obvious, but it is also just visually a constant reminder. And there it is again, another specific hole of light. I'm not going to go so far as to say Rey, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I had no idea this kind of concept was going to pop up here.
This was great.
I'm going to say I don't think you had any idea the execution would be like this. But we all talked a lot about how they were in the same place.
I would agree with that. Yeah. It was trippy.
I loved it.
It took me about a second to go, oh, okay. This shot in particular.
Yeah.
Shooting through the wall.
And I don't think he was actually caused pain there. I just think he braced for it.
Yeah. And he could maybe,
And it's a couple days, so he might actually still be in pain from Chewie shooting him in the same place.
Yeah. Do you love the risky business slide he does there?
Right.
Just put those old modal node songs on.
I love that Kylo right away. He picks up, okay, here's what's happening. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want from you. Yeah, and that hand drawback, that's just great.
Yeah.
You're not doing this. The effort would kill you.
Very important.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. And that can you see my surroundings? I can't see yours. I think because he has no knowledge of them, or Snoke has no knowledge of them. Whereas if Snoke is making this connection, maybe a little bit more of the background is filling in for Rey.
Yeah.
I will say it kind of reminded me of Stranger Things when 11 is able to go to that place where it's all black around her and just
in the pool.
isolated. Yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of.
1980s music video set, is that I call it?
Yeah, right.
Darkness.
Another favorite of Jen's.
Oh, the fish nuns.
Yes. What are they? La Mew?
Lene.
La Mew is the planet in Rogue One.
Yeah.
planet, fish people, whatever.
And the lead, Lene, is Elsita Aka.
I love Skywalker. Just like she's like blaster malfunction. All right, let's get going.
Yeah, he's kind of. I don't have time for this. I love the number of places where the Porgs are just dotted in the background.
Right.
And I know that might have been to cover the Puffins, but even if it's regardless whether it's how many points are a choice versus Puffin covering, it's so great.
And what a great choice that is to say, well, these are the surroundings rather than try and like cancel it out, right?
Yeah.
We're going to work with it and make a fantastic creature that people buy plushes of.
Yes.
And if
I'm sure that was not the motivation, though, of course.
and if you want to, one of those folks, it's like, well, so in episode 7 there was birds on the island, but they weren't Porgs. Plot hole. Don't worry about it. All right?
Yeah.
Just don't worry about that.
Now, I find it
Jedi.
interesting that we don't have a more direct shot of that. Would you have liked a more direct establishing shot of that, or do you like that it's casual?
Of the Prime Jedi?
Yeah.
I like that it's casual because if it was direct, we'd be having 42 videos a week.
Analyzing the 8th pebble that makes the dark shoulder. Yeah.
And we already had enough of them trying to connect it to Snoke.
Right. It's the image of the Prime Jedi. Yeah, we would have to. It would have to be more integral to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to be careful choosing which I say is my favorite scene. But this might be one of my favorite scenes. The mixture of comedy and wisdom and his gruff old teacher and her young, naive student and the natural comedy that comes between that and the deep stuff about the Force. So much going on. Okay.
Yeah, the okay beat what is it part is my favorite. But then again, his laugh coming up here is pretty good.
Yeah. I feel like this is what it would be like the first time I tried to do yoga at a studio. Like I would be this wrong about it all.
This really hit in every screening I saw.
Yep. Mocking Porg noise in the background.
Yeah.
That look.
So great.
Yeah.
And the toss.
Ah.
Love the toss. So I think it's really cool that this place gets established where obviously Luke is going to be later. This is at the top of this island that is a focal point for the Force, light and dark. And this is like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You're high atop a mountain out on a little precipice.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's so important to establish the vision of where Luke is later in the movie.
It's really different Star Wars visuals right here. I mean, we don't see
montage, right?
Yeah, the montage, the fast-growing animals like or plants, like it's a nature documentary. Like, I really liked it. It's really different.
Yeah, like David Attenborough is going to start narrating.
Exactly.
The Porg protects its young.
Or the Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom show I used to watch as a kid.
Yeah. Jennifer, did this align with your view of the Force, or did it feel new, the way Luke is describing it?
It felt very, very new, especially because there was no judgment about like death and decay. This is just all very natural. And I think this is what we're going to see with the Dark Side Cave, is that it's not some scary, frightening place. She's faced with herself.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cold and quiet. It's not this ominous necessarily.
And it's dangling an answer that she kind of maybe doesn't really need.
Exactly.
But you think
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I like the idea because we've been told before in Star Wars that the dark side leads to unnatural things.
Right.
But that the idea of like, there's sadness, there's loss, there's death, that's natural.
That's natural.
To pick those up and try to use those things to control other people's destiny, that's the dark side. That's the unnatural.
That's the unnatural, but on its own, it just exists.
Yeah. Although what just happened with the water is a little unnatural.
It's a little freaky.
And again, all of this stuff for people who maybe feel like the Last Jedi isn't respectful to legacy. All of this is playing around with stuff that's buried deep in the bones of the prequels, right? About fear leading to the dark side because you're afraid to lose things because it offers you something you want.
the
Attachment.
Yes.
The foibles of the Jedi. I love what Luke says about, why do we feel that belongs to us? Why? It doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, there's great battle between, well, sure, maybe we could just let events go, but then if I have this power, I have a responsibility.
Right. Right.
I like that Connix is in on this mission.
Yeah. I hope Connix has got a nice, strong presence in 9 as well.
I hope so.
I love that. So we know from Forces of Destiny they encounter some creatures out there in space, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Good memory. Oh, I love this scene with a Porg.
My favorite's the one with the junk on his head.
Look at him. That's me whenever I'm suffering with technology.
I love the little, yeah.
That's Jen setting up her Wi-Fi at home.
Yeah, exactly.
She's got the modem on her head.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love how she's so delighted.
She's smiling. I mean,
yes.
She's been in Jakku for her whole life.
Desert hellhole, yeah.
Right.
Water comes from the sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, great evocative shot of Kylo, right?
She's having this wonderful moment, and then it's
Yeah.
taken.
All up in her business.
He senses her first. She sees him first. And I love that. I love that he is more aware of what's going on. He wants to know. And she's frightened, so she goes to, "You're the monster. I want to kill you."
Right.
Yeah. And I like that what he goes for right away. He processes all this. He's a little older. He is more aware of the Force. So what he goes for right away is, I'm going to get you on my side. I'm going to sow doubt in you about your elders, in my elders in particular.
Yeah.
And that is their way that they are gonna bond.
Yeah.
You know.
And Kylo, maybe if he can get her on her side, it'll be validation that all the horrible things he's done are correct, because he had this great family and he grew up to resent and hate them.
Right.
And attack them.
Right.
And if she agrees, if he can convince her that, Luke, this is all Luke's fault, he'll be proven correct.
I love the random walkers in the background, but I love the water on the glove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, and that's just a really fun cut of the fist closing into the hyperspace.
This is similar to hitting Prim, Nevada while driving into Vegas from LA. We're almost there.
Terrible. It's so great. It's a terrible place for the worst people.
Yeah. Speaking alien dialect.
Yeah,
That's
Baron
what the subtitle said.
Atzman, I believe, is the owner of the Undisputed Victor.
Yeah.
I love that shot. I know some people don't like it. I love to see it floating on the waterfall and then taking off.
Yeah.
So weird and
great.
alien and relatable.
Slow and low.
That is the tempo.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, that's right. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Didn't he do it? Try and do an impression of, what is it? Not Yosemite Sam. What is it?
I mean, close enough.
I tell you.
There's
The
Tam,
Sam.
right?
Yeah, Tham.
Tham.
SE8 waiter droid.
Oh,
Oobla Mulbro, yeah.
Over there in the corner.
Great. One shot.
Look
Yeah.
at that expression. He's loving
This
it.
is me at the Riviera the first time I went to Vegas.
Very cool one shot. I love the one shot in the deleted scenes. They have a little bit more of the establishing shots, which are a little bit more traditional Star Wars. I will say I would have liked to see that as well.
Me too.
So we could concentrate on a couple more of the weirdo aliens.
Yeah, that's what I wanted from this sequence, is getting to know these patrons more, maybe them
Right.
having more of an interaction.
Yeah.
All right, Mark Hamill playing as drunken alien.
Yeah, Dabuske, right?
Yeah.
Little leprechaun-looking creature.
And I do like the establishing shot of the some of the gambling machines do look a little like BB-8. So
Yeah.
Dabuske is drunk, but
Right. But it kind of makes sense.
yeah. I also like what it says about just the actual physical infrastructure of Canto Bight, that they didn't build these buildings well enough to withstand the fathiers running past.
Yeah, I didn't think. I thought it was as a fathiers is that powerful, but I guess you could look at it that way.
There's one of my
I
favorite
like
weirdos,
that,
the vaping alien in
Yes.
the background. Ekmo, I believe, is his first name.
You know, that is a great point, because it is about show, and it's not necessarily about how well it's been built,
Yeah.
as long as it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't look at the core.
Right. I say that about a lot of buildings in Los Angeles.
Yeah. All right. First little looks at Tamiri Blag down there.
Yeah, and Bargwall. Multi-limbed. Cruel.
And her story is talking about the state of the galaxy, which is what
Yep.
people
Yeah.
wanted to know. So we are getting that here.
Yeah. I think this guy's great. That guy in the center, the old guy. Just,
Yeah.
So we know in the end the lessons learned. Finn, makes the right choice.
I love that line, by the
Yeah.
way. Just
Yeah.
anyway.
Whole lousy
But
town.
Ken?
No, it's just to this moment. Like it's interesting that they're playing on a little bit of I think Rose is right, but she also is not factoring in maybe the other areas, and that's where DJ comes in. I think in the end, Finn and Rose obviously are on the right side, but I love hearing her there go like, no, they're giving weapons to the First Order.
Right.
Yeah.
And not factoring in, they're also selling X-Wings.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think it's great because it does open up all of these discussions that you can apply to the real world if you want to, and if you want escapism, you cannot. But this idea of, well, even if they sold an X-Wing or two, does that really mean that you should just shrug and walk away from everything?
And do nothing?
Because clearly Snoke and Ren and the First Order have done horrible things. What they did to Rose and Tico's planet is horrible in the fact that some scummy people on Canto Bight also sold some X-Wings doesn't change what the First Order did, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
the atrocities that they've committed.
Yeah. I will say, I'm sure we'll get back to Canto Bight, but I will say, to offer a little bit of criticism, I love all the themes, I love all the ideas. I feel like maybe there could have been some more just purely emotional moments connecting Rose and Finn.
See that.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's not that they don't have chemistry as performers. It's just there's a little bit of a lack of a connection there that I think we wanted to film.
Yeah, they're very busy on the themes, and the themes are rich and complex.
Right.
Yeah. I love this moment where Luke's just kind of watching her, knows she's got some natural skills.
We haven't had time to talk about this, but the recent revelation on Twitter, recent as we're recording this, that some of these moves are similar to the moves that Kylo makes.
Yes.
How do you feel about those connections?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I really like that idea. I don't know, sometimes, we love digging deep, but I don't know, did Ryan intend that? If he comes out or has come out and said, I intended that, even better.
Yeah.
I love that it opens up that conversation, though.
Yeah.
Oh, these poor caretakers. So,
I've seen this movie like 7 times. I still laugh.
It's so wonderfully Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I
Yeah.
love it.
Still just holding the one
great.
stick. Like,
It's good comedy. It's good comedy. This is one of those, he's not wrong. He's not fully right how he's, again,
hubris.
applied it to his
Right.
beliefs here, but Sidious.
Yeah, great that they say Darth Sidious. And again, I think that I point to this moment of this has such great respect of the whole Star Wars saga. It's finishing the story that George Lucas started. George Lucas wanted to tell the story of the Jedi having hubris.
Yes.
And it's so great to have Luke on screen recognize it.
Yeah.
and say it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, it's almost to what you were saying earlier, Joseph. It's like maybe Luke shouldn't have packed it up based on just some of that. And there's obviously a lot more reasons he's here on this mountain, but he's not wrong. He's not necessarily fully right about it, but Luke's not wrong here.
He's not wrong, but I also feel like he is projecting, right?
Yeah.
Where he wants to say, like, I failed, but you know what? The Jedi did before me all the time. Ben did, Yoda did.
Yeah.
So I'm not alone in that, which connects with Kylo of, like, making some bad choices and not wanting to be alone in them.
Right.
I think a line that gets lost in this scene that just passed, too, is, like, for many years there was balance.
Yeah.
Right.
For people who are concerned that that the victory on Endor, the defeat of the Empire finally at Jakku didn't matter, it did.
It did. Yeah. First real flashback in Star Wars.
Yes.
That planet's yet to be identified, correct?
It is not identified to my knowledge.
Okay.
Juicy, unidentified Jedi planet.
R2 there to see it all.
Jennifer, let me ask you this. This scene being included confirms that some of the things that we see in Rey's vision in The Force Awakens are exactly literal,
Right.
Right.
along with other things that we knew, like the hallway on Cloud City. Does that make you think everything in her vision is literal?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, then what? Then I'm going to have to go back and watch it and see what else was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't know. That's a great question. What do you think,
I
Ken?
still take it as now, after seeing this movie, as literal where it was happening, but I don't think Kylo Ben at the time jumped up and put on his new black robe and helmet.
Yes, I don't think that scene is him slaughtering the rest of the Jedi.
Right.
Right.
No.
So a little column A, a little column B.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I think that's really important for Rey because I think a lot of what comes in her sort of her story in this movie is that she just does have this inner strength, and even when she faces doubt again and again, she comes back to her own strength in that conviction of I won't fail you.
An interesting moment there too, because I think she's right. Hey, Kylo, failed you, but Luke knows he also lied. He kept his little bit of the story out of
The
Yes,
part that he
he did.
can't cope with, that he can't deal with, the true reason he ran, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which we'll see in a minute. But also that scene really set up the whole idea of Luke wants to tell the truth to the galaxy of, like, I'm a flawed person, and Rey pushing back of, like, maybe there's nothing wrong with being a legend.
Yeah.
Maybe people need a legend.
I forget this actor's name, but he was also in Black Panther this year.
Oh, yeah, he's great. And he says Godspeed Rebels first, right?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
I think this is another place where there is similarity to Empire, where Last Jedi is just the story of them trying to run away from the First Order. And like Han Leia's story in Empire is just them trying to get away from the Empire as well.
Right.
So it's very differently told, but it is the same thing.
Yeah. A good spot, I guess, to start talking about BB-8 in this movie and some of his actions. I love BB-8, love a lot of it. And a lot of it did play in front of the crowds, but some of it, how do you guys take it? I don't want to lead your thoughts there. BB-8's actions in this film.
Oh, really?
Over the top, humorous, just right.
interesting.
I like all of his actions. I love the scene coming up where he shoots the coins. I love when
I
he's
love
driving the AT-ST and rips the head off of it. I feel like, just like with Rose and Finn, where they could use a couple more emotional moments, I feel like some of the emotions of BB-8 were missing.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
There's
he is-
strong emotional connections he has in Force Awakens.
Yeah, with Rey, there are so many great things that they play on in the Forces of Destiny series between Rey and BB-8. So maybe we'll get some more of those in Episode 9.
Ken, you are big on DJ, right?
I really love DJ. I love Benicio del Toro, and
Me
I love
too.
that he wanted to be in a Star Wars film, that it meant something to him and his family, and he makes these choices as an actor. The stutter's a great, character moment for me, character trait. It doesn't define him; it's just part of who he is. I didn't take a lot of what he was doing as bad comedy. I love his character.
loved
I
it.
know I've had a lot of conversations with people off air that don't like his choices as an actor here.
Oh no, I think to me, because Rian Johnson is such a cinephile, Benicio del Toro's performance harkens back to characters that we've seen throughout, the films in the 1930s, 1940s, Casablanca, those types of films.
Yeah,
the
his
sort of-
performance was kind of a throwback in some
The
ways.
charming rogue.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So how BB-8 did that, I don't know, but I don't need that answer.
Hey, yeah,
It's just fun.
He's got some ropes. He's got some arms. Magic
he can do
happens.
Yeah, man.
This is
So
the only slightly awkward moment for me. That I don't know what's going on with Del Toro there, but it's fine. It's fun.
Yeah, I'll go this far. I didn't need the blow,
Yeah,
since I don't
Oh.
think that is emitting air. I mean, I
Okay.
guess maybe it is.
yeah.
calls him Roundy. I love it. I feel
Yeah.
like that kind of plays to 12 and 13-year-olds. I feel like if I
Yeah.
was that age, I'd
Yeah.
be like, yeah, this is so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah, I think that blow is like one of those things of like Star Wars is always going to have some silliness to it in different moments. Will land for different people, and
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. They
I love
just
this moment with the father here. So wonderful, practical.
Yes.
yeah, just seeing the behind the scenes and how real these actually look.
They looked real. Oh, just like you're saying, just little pockets of light.
Yeah, and those scars and all this little boy and the light.
Broom kid, don't do it.
No, don't.
They're so lucky he could have touched it off with the Force we know now.
Yeah.
I follow that kid now on Instagram. His parents run his account.
Oh, wow.
He is so just a wonderfully delightful Star Wars fan. He just is all in.
Oh.
Puts out a lot of pictures of articles about Broom Kid. Like he's very aware. That
he's aware that he is Broom Kid.
Yeah,
to Mary Blegg. Man, that ring of all the things that had ever been put in Star Wars, just as a like, hey, how about you buy this? And I know they're like, I think expensive, like Etsy things you can buy, but man,
I'm surprised that they haven't come out with an official.
to my knowledge,
Yeah.
Weird little continuity error for me there. One of the police officers jumps up against the wall.
Oh yeah,
and then in the close-up shot as the fathers continue to run out, he's not there.
Wow, he phased out.
Phased out.
Oh, so then when that happens to me in Battlefront 2, it's accurate to
Yes.
Star Wars.
I'm glad that they cut this scene down because we saw in the deleted scenes it kind of went on and on this chase.
Yeah.
I like your take on it, Joseph, though, about seeing a little bit more of the father ears choosing to do this damage.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I understand that this is going to be one of my weirdest opinions. I love that extended cut because it is. It is about 18 minutes long, right? I mean, it's really
really
long.
long, yeah.
But we get to see some more of the Canto Bight weirdos that I like in different venues, like the whole massage parlor that got cut.
Yes.
And like Ken was saying, there's that shot where they pause at the top of the city, and the father seem to look down at it in anger. And I think Finn even says a line like, "Oh, we're going to do this."
Yeah.
And the fathers seem to choose it. And again, for me, I love this film, but this chase feels a little flat for me as a moment of action. I love all the themes, all the ideas that Canto Bight makes possible, but this actual chase is a moment of action. Feels a little flat to me.
And there was, for me, some of the, as impressive as the effects are in this, and I even love how they slide. This particular moment, your head might get cut off if you're running that fast and you hit a cable. I can live with all of it. But,
beautiful shot.
Yeah, that's a great shot. And talk about the beams of light there, huh?
Right. There's just so many great visuals here.
I think I just wanted maybe something more from the heroes. Like I wanted to see like kind of a cool move where like Rose or Finn do something actively to get rid of those speeders, like
Right.
to get a father to leap or unhook something or throw something or do something coming from the character.
A little bit more proactive.
Yeah, rather than just riding the space horses.
Yes.
Great sounds, though. The speeder sounds are great.
Ugh. They filmed the scenes on Canto Bight with the cobblestone. That was Croatia? Was that correct?
I believe so.
Yes.
Same spot where they shoot a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
And that's where some of the first leaks started happening.
Yes, I remember seeing a leaked door.
Yes.
And I'm like, what's that about? I'm like,
And it's interesting that documentary. I think it's Ron Bergman talks about how this is our first on location shoot. You have to deal with the people around you, not knowing who they are, what they're doing.
And there were a lot of people that they
Just
showed watching.
Yeah, and from a producer like Ron Bergman's perspective, knowing like, okay, I intellectually know what it's like to try to protect a Star Wars film, but now this is the first time I have to physically do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this moment's really, really important to Rose's famous line, and I think one of the main themes of the movie about not fighting what you hate, but saving what you love, because that's where she's introducing that idea to Finn of like, he says, "Oh, I'm glad we smashed up that evil town." She's like, and then when she does something kind and saves something, it's like, now it's worth it.
Now.
Yeah, and I think that can get lost if you're looking at that moment as an over-the-top, preachy, save the animals, save the people moment. If that's where you get lost on, I understand. I get it. But what Joseph just said is that's the themes hidden in those moments there. Right. Finn is all about, we just crushed things.
Right.
Yeah, you wanted to punch a hole through this town, and we did. And she's like, actually, it's more important that we did something kind for these creatures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There it is, reconnecting.
Again, so I think Rey really being Luke's hero in this movie is really cool.
Yes.
Of like she convinced him like maybe you didn't fail Kylo, maybe you can give this a try.
Mm-hmm. And that prologue in Jason Fry's novel of his version of the adaptation of Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite things in Star Wars. Of the Force kind of telling Luke, this is what would have happened and will happen in a way.
You don't get to step away. You have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Jennifer, is your interpretation that Luke wakes Leia, that she would not have come back without this connection?
Oh, no, I never actually thought that. Did you think that?
I think I like the idea that it could go both ways.
Yeah. I think, it's There we go.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll save any other conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation stops for topless Kylo
Put that on
Ren.
hold.
I saw someone tweet about it. I think our friend Ali Slate tweeted something about it recently about what Kylo's drinking back there.
Oh, yeah. And like, is his calligraphy set back there?
Is he just having some whiskey like we are?
Is he doing some touch up on his scar? Is he actually oiling?
I think he's designing new outfits.
You know what? I had never fully processed the wound from the shoulder poke that she
Yep.
gives him.
Yep.
This was just a couple days ago, and he's wearing her wounds.
There is something really awkward about him, half clothed. It just fits this character so well.
It was a funny beat on the surface, right?
Yeah,
I love
right.
that moment. Can you put it, and the crowd laughs, but yeah, this is Kylo exposed,
Yeah.
more than he's been with anybody.
It's
Yes,
intimacy.
vulnerable.
It's his connection,
Yeah.
and then he starts telling his version of the truth.
And I think that's key.
This
I
was
think
shocking.
Yeah, igniting the green. There it
Yep,
is.
there it is. And his eyes, Luke's eyes.
Hamill did such an amazing performance. And I truly interpreted it as the classic Star Wars from a certain point of view. That's what Kylo believes. Maybe because he has to.
Right.
Maybe because he was truly frightened in that moment, but he has to believe that.
Another great line.
Another great line. Not the theme of the movie necessarily.
No.
It's the advocacy of the villain, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I think you have to, for me, you look at what the hero's actions are ultimately.
Yeah, it wasn't Ryan Johnson watching your reviews of The Force Awakens and then writing a movie to destroy your thoughts. But that's the only time I'll talk about that.
That's our
Right.
opinion. Yeah, we do not
Right.
think that is subtext for let The Force Awakens die.
Yeah.
Kill it if you have to.
No.
That's our opinion.
It was our choice to speculate all those years.
I had a lot of fun. Somebody sent me in a great question for Star Wars counseling, which again, if you haven't listened to ForceCenter before, it's another podcast we do where we take grievances, things that bother people, and try to talk through them and make people feel better. Got a great one about what is the deal with all of the mirror cave and why aren't we talking about it more?
Why aren't we talking about it more, Joseph?
Well, let's talk about it more now.
talk about
I'm going to say right here, people who get upset about Rey swimming, she doesn't swim. She falls, she flails, she gets to the surface.
Yeah.
She's flailing. Yeah.
That's not, she is not, what's that, Phelps? Greg Phelps? Is that right?
Michael Phelps?
Michael Phelps, Greg Phelps. I don't know who Greg Phelps is.
Yeah.
Greg
She's-
Louganis.
Yeah, Greg Louganis, Michael Phelps. She's not doing either of those things. She's flailing. She didn't get any medals there, right? I was going to say Oscars for swimming. Swimming Oscars.
An Oscar for swimming.
A swimming Oscar. I can talk about Star Wars, but nothing else in the world.
Now,
All right, so here we are.
this shot.
We're getting trippy.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson said on Twitter that he was inspired by a 1980s music video, and I don't remember the band, but if you look at the music video, they have this mirror kind of shot.
Is it very similar to Take On Me? Is that the
It's a more
It's-
obscure one than that.
It is more
yeah, I
obscure.
can't remember what it is.
But when he shared it, people were going nuts because they go, yeah, I thought the same thing.
I consider this moment to be the first ASMR Star Wars.
To me, this reminds me of the mirror exercises that you do in acting class.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And how annoying would that be if you did a mirror exercise with yourself and couldn't get it right? Yeah, I mean, I think what's going on, what I like about this is I think in both this cave and the tree cave in Dagobah, it offers you what you think you want. Like Luke wanted to see a vision of himself destroying Darth Vader,
Right.
and freeing the galaxy, and Rey wants to know where she comes from. And I think they're both kind of like almost tricksters, where they're like,
Yes.
sure, let me show you what you think you want, but let me show you it in a way that will open you to fear, which is the path to the dark side.
Exactly. I had a lump in my throat at this moment. I thought
Me too.
we're getting an answer.
Can you imagine?
Getting an answer.
What
Okay.
would have happened if
If
they
it was
had?
like Obi-Wan and then a live actress playing Satine from the Clone Wars
Oh
that you'd
my
never seen
gosh.
before, what would it have been if it was just Ewan McGregor saying, hello there?
Hello there.
People have been satisfied? Do you think?
I don't think people think that through a little bit.
The story
Yes.
couldn't have been told that way because it requires more information, right?
Yes.
Yeah, even if yes, Obi-Wan's her grandfather or something, in that moment, that is so beautiful the way it works.
Yeah.
You know? Even if
Yeah,
she
and it
learns
breaks her.
later
She goes to her knees. What she wants more than anything, and she's already made explicit with Kylo,
on.
is
And I thought she was talking to Luke here.
So did I.
and think
this
you're
is
meant
so
to,
great.
right?
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely leads you there, but I was hook, line, and sinker. It's like, here we go.
And this to me was when I felt like my teenage years, where you're bonding with another outsider. No one gets us, but we have
Right.
this special connection. I know that you're probably not the best choice for me.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of bad things.
Right.
But I'm connecting with you.
And I believe in all my heart that Luke and Han and everyone else should be looked up to. You rejected them, but now I can't get him to be there for me.
Right,
So
right.
I'll turn to you. And I think she is getting through to Luke, but I don't think she can see it or feel it yet.
Right.
Sometimes when we touch.
I understand the
honesty
shipping
too
of Raylo. I do.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
think
I understand it.
Yeah, the Raylo thing, whether it's explicitly romantic or not, the intimacy was done so well.
Beautifully.
Oh, this is an amazing moment in Star Wars,
Yeah.
followed by some of the best practical effects in Star Wars. Coming up here with Luke.
And I think the payoff
Oh,
of
my
this moment,
goodness.
which we'll talk about more later, is great. But I just love the idea that her whole fear is that she doesn't matter, that she doesn't have anyone to look to, that she's going to put, Kylo's mad that all of his meaning comes from other people, and she wants all of her meaning to come from other people, and the cave tells her, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's practical, right?
That is
Yes, it
practical.
was
That's
practical.
practical, yeah. And now she relatively knows the truth. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's hard for Luke to deny it.
And I love this scene. I love seeing Luke do a little bit of action, followed up with deciding action's not his thing.
Yeah.
And seeing Ray giving into her anger.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he could have defeated her,
Oh, yes.
but there's something to be said about her. This is that moment. This is Luke hacking Vader's handoff in the throne room in Jedi. This is, though you see it building in her,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I think it's what that shot is about. Like,
yeah.
he's catching himself with the Force, but it's also that reminder of,
Yeah.
this is why he's going to say later to Yoda, I can't be what she wants. He's like, I won't escalate violence. I don't believe in violence as a solution. How can I go and fight?
Right.
How can I go up and stand there with the laser sword?
Wow, that is such a small moment with that. Oh, it says so much.
And finally, I think we get what I consider the truth of this situation.
Right.
I think so too.
Yes.
In that important line that Snoke had already turned his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think that line is fascinating about he seeing all the destruction that he'd bring to what Luke loved, because it's A, Luke's job as a Jedi to defend that.
Right.
And B, it's fear of losing what you love.
Yeah.
So it's a real mixed thing.
Great shot. Great shot.
Yeah.
Guy. And the way that Adam Driver plays that is...
Yeah, because he's obviously the same age as, plays it as a boy.
He
Yeah.
does.
Those
There's
eyes,
an
the
innocence.
eyes of a boy. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
green saber in his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that everything that's happening with Luke is big, but it all comes to that one moment. He's beating himself up over one moment of instinct and fear.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Rey is right, but I think Luke's right too. You know what I mean? Like, which is what I love. I love this thought starter in my brain. I know Luke's just going, hey, look, I thought as you did one time. I went off to chase my father. It didn't go well, blah, blah. But, it went well after Luke gave himself up to the thought of dying. He was
Yeah.
willing to die, and that's ended up kind of saving Vader. But I don't think Rey's wrong. She's not naive. She felt something real,
Right.
But was it the dark side putting it there? What was it?
Yeah, I love that shot of Luke watching the Falcon take off. But I think it's, you can be different things to different people. And I think Luke truly has no way of opening Kylo himself. People talk about this a lot of Luke could save his father, one of the most evil people ever, is because his father felt warmth to Luke. Luke was his
Yes.
sort of opening towards being good again.
Right.
Luke is everything that Kylo resents. There's
Right.
nothing Luke can do to reach Kylo, but there might be something Rey can do because they're connected.
Right.
And they have had similar experiences.
I could not believe what I was seeing.
Yep.
When
Uh, Yeah.
that head came
The
across.
Yoda
Those little
head.
ears.
Yeah.
Even with all the rumors about, we saw Frank Oz in London, therefore,
Right.
even with all that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Again, now, should be noted, we know again from Jason Fry's excellent adaptation that Luke had tried this several times before, and that is when Rey found him, is he had failed to do it. He wanted to bring
And
that to the
he stops even now.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I think that's just showing that like Luke is he's wounded, he's grumpy, but he's still Luke at heart.
right.
And this was our first time seeing a Force ghost.
You
Lighting a
summon lightning,
Summon
yeah.
lightning, yes.
Love it. This is where,
Oh,
I mean, I was already in with this scene, but when Yoda starts laughing.
It's
Yeah.
classic Yoda.
It absolutely is. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the vision of that burning tree is so powerful.
I love that he just floats around.
Yeah, it is much like Obi-Wan sitting on the log. It teaches us that Force ghosts do what's convenient.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to
Yeah.
reappear over here because it's awkward to yell.
Yep. Yeah. Hamill really draws out that text.
Yeah.
It really does.
Page turners, they were not.
Yeah, so I think this also isn't a kill the past moment. It's a don't be stuck in the past.
Right.
These are ancient Jedi texts. They have value, but they're not the only value.
Yeah.
He's always looking to the horizon.
Yeah.
Never in the present, in the moment.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like Yoda's there to say, yeah, you learned a lot, but you still have some habits ingrained in you, kid.
Yeah.
That's a great point, going back to what you said, Joseph. What Yoda could be said right there is lost, Ben, you did. But maybe not for someone else.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it was just so powerful to hear Yoda say Rey. Lose Rey, we must not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill continues to be the best acting companion for a puppet ever.
Seriously.
I mean, him and Frank Oz together again. That there's a reason that's such an emotional moment in the documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Right.
months they're the only two on set. Obviously with all the other people, the only two principals in Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such
music.
a beautiful. We are what they grow beyond. That is a burden of the master.
Yeah, and that's an admission from Yoda that, like, hey, when I was teaching you, I was wrong about some stuff.
Yeah.
Remember how I thought you should just maybe get rid of Vader?
We've talked of Bresnikan, Anthony Bresnikan's tweet. I saw the opening, like, this is the first Star Wars movie about growing up just as much as growing old, just as much as growing up.
Yeah.
And
It
as
really
a parent,
is.
Jennifer, we've talked about you. I mean, that's something eventually you're getting grown past, Jennifer.
Yes.
That's something it's part of it.
And that's why I love this Luke. That he is feeling like he failed. When you grow up, you realize, I've failed at a lot of things. We're not all just great heroes, but it's about the story is about how you pick yourself up from that.
Yeah.
I like that begrudgingly, but Rose commits because she knows the greater good's at stake here.
Yeah, Rose is a great, steady character, right? She might come to more clarity about what she believes, but she is clear.
Yeah. I love the little lessons Finn's getting along the way. Because again, he's been kidnapped as a kid. He's been raised, in this sterile environment where he's a number. He's learning a lot of things fast.
Right.
Yeah. John Boyega is so great. Just that look on his face of like, you stole the ship. Yeah, okay, and have to memorize the order that these things appear in case that comes up in trivia.
Goodness.
Love seeing the tie interceptors. Just stuff like
Yeah.
that. Thanks, man.
I do like his dialogue is that written almost as kind of normal English parlance, but not quite.
Yeah.
Let me learn you something big.
Yeah.
Don't judge by the wrapper.
Yeah, yeah.
Live free, don't join. Isn't that also what's on his hat?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All that time speculating that DJ meant Dark Jedi.
Oh, yes, right.
Which, again, we always encourage fun speculation.
Absolutely.
But it is funny to look back.
Yeah.
PV. I forget his name, but he's a British actor. In what show? Is it?
Oh, yeah. The young ones.
The Young Ones, right.
Oh.
Yeah, people who know it are just like, oh my God, it's him. This is insane.
Yeah.
And people who don't are just like, what a great actor.
Yeah.
Jennifer, at this point in the movie, like when you're rewatching it, how are you feeling about Poe? Because like we love Poe from Force Awakens, but now he's pushing back against Holdo. How are you feeling?
I was really frustrated with him. I was like, she is in charge. Let her lead. You know, she's got the plan, and maybe there's a reason she's not telling him. Well, because he, quite frankly, why should she trust him after what he's done? He's already been demoted.
Yeah.
So I was frustrated with Poe, and I liked that she did not tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Absolutely. I don't think she has a need, a responsibility to tell anybody her plan other than those who are close to her. Remember, she's on another cruiser.
Right.
She's got her own kind of command staff. So there's a natural thing. And Poe's not slowing down enough. He is doing, again, what every other hero might do. And Indiana Jones is like, no, we got to go. This and that. I'm in charge. I don't think it's just a base level arrogance of, no, I should be the one in charge. It's just he's doing what is normal to this kind of character.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where the conflict is. And she's like, no, we got to approach it differently.
Yeah, I don't even... Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
sorry.
no, I feel like as a woman that scene resonated with me so much where it's like she just didn't need to do anything. She knows that he's trying to undermine her authority. And so she needs to shut him down and she needs to take care of business.
Yeah.
And there's the key moment of Rey putting the books there, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
and we'll see him
There you
again.
go.
They get those double books, so the books did not go anywhere.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's important to just know that Poe isn't just a screw-up. It's just like normally you go for the last-ditch plan when you have to, like the Death Star in A New Hope, because there's no other option.
Right.
But the goal right now is just to survive. So he's just fighting a different battle.
Yeah.
And Holdo knows the battle they're fighting right now.
Here's... For me, I love this moment because we finally saw the Millennium Falcon escape
The
pod.
escape pods.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so cool to just add to what we know is there, but I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And I love all the fighters going, what? Wait, what's this about?
Did you believe? There might be an answer, maybe in the novelization or something, that did she alert Kylo she was coming, or did he just kind of figure this is what was happening?
Yeah, good question.
I think he just sensed it.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is where you could tell.
Oops.
Whoopsie.
Maybe it won't be as easy as all that.
Yeah.
I know we matched on Tinder, but here we are at the coffee shop.
Didn't we touch hands? Didn't we send winky face emojis at each other?
Yeah,
Oh.
he's not giving her a big hug.
I was fooled too. I thought, maybe she has gotten to him. Maybe he's going to help her cause.
Right,
Aha.
right.
And this line coming up, I like the blip, bloppity bloop.
Flip right through. Somewhere the master code breaker is running around with Lovey.
Yes.
Doing who knows what.
That's right. Being a poet with a blaster.
Yeah. I like little moments like that.
Yeah,
Ship.
I feel like even though the plot does have some like just actual functional plot, it does have some wiggly things to make it all work. They're really done. They're diligent on them.
Yeah.
Like, we need a codebreaker to do exactly this, so here's the scene of it really happening.
Right.
Yeah, dummy.
Yeah.
She's in charge. Until now. Do you think on any level, she should have said at this point, here's what I'm doing? I don't.
No, I don't.
I feel like there was a moment in that previous scene, and this shot, of course, is great.
The hardware
Yes.
wars call out is
Yeah.
amazing.
In that previous scene, I feel like there was a moment once he figured out the whole fueling the cargo plans where she was thinking about it for a second, and then he got angry and called her a coward.
Yeah.
Which only reinforces her initial, like, you're too off the cuff. I don't trust you.
Right.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. I think that you read her face. It's like, oh, let me tell you this. No.
I love that he's imitating a mouse droid, by the way.
Yes.
BB-9E.
BB-9E with, what's his name? Ralph Ineson.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. From First Night, Game of Thrones, and The Office.
So when you were first seeing this, the parallels to Return of the Jedi are just really right there, right? Mm-hmm. Was there a response to like, this is different for Star Wars poetry? It's not, this from the second film. It's from the third film.
Here's what I was like, because we knew a throne room was coming, right? We saw that and the excellent promo shots. My first clue as to something was different was like, oh, okay, we're riding up in an elevator. We got all the stuff. And I got a sense that the movie was just a little over halfway done,
Yeah.
Right.
Timing might be off on when I say halfway, but I was like, oh, we're doing this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's this going to be about?
Right.
Yeah, and I love this, that they share what they both saw, that Kylo won't bow, that whose raised parents are. I think they saw the truth, and then they made assumptions based on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so elegant that it all plays out that way.
If you out there watching have not seen the footage that Rian Johnson narrates on the or introduces on the documentary extras of Andy Serkis cut into the scene before the special effects, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
And
But-
see how closely mirrored it was to the final performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have just kept him in the way that he, with all the...
With the big fake arm.
Yeah.
Now, did this moment work on you to make you think that DJ was a good guy when he returns?
It did for me. Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think, oh,
Even the music has that
Yeah.
nice little,
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yep.
here's a little hero theme.
Yep.
little
I
did we
love
know.
that hand gesture.
Yeah, I love his choices.
She has a little bit of doubt in him there, doesn't she?
She's
Right.
a little grumpy with him.
Yeah. She's a little grumpy.
It's,
A little bit driven home of like, oh, yeah, he really did used to be a First Order Stormtrooper like days ago.
That's true. I do love 3PO stumbling on the rank there. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even with all this, Poe remains charming and engaging and
Always.
funny and
Oh, yeah.
pure of heart.
Holdo's got a plan.
Yeah.
All right.
Take that, Scythe Renali.
You can see her lips going
See her pew. I
Yeah.
would have never seen the pew without Rian Johnson
Yeah.
pointing it out.
Yep.
Did you feel as you were watching this that it was going to work? Did you have that natural instinct?
Yeah.
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 Yep. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen in this moment. I was surprised that Leia returns.
Yeah.
So
See,
frustrating.
I just love Del Toro, man. I just love what he does here.
He is
So
making his
great.
own weird little choices.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I totally thought right at this moment, I'm like, here, she's got it.
There'll be some other complication that leads us into the third act, but this will happen, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Coordinates
that's
are locked.
Yeah, and I don't think it's an attack on what has come before. I think it's just a fun way to switch things up of like, what if the daring plan didn't work?
Right.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, more rebel scum.
Rebel scum. Then we
Ass.
get again a little bit more of the novel of how BB-8 escaped.
Yes.
Finally, Phasma.
Yeah.
Phasma. All right.
Finally, Phasma. That's what the her next novel should be called.
Finally, Phasma. It's
Yeah.
a fair question. I think we should ask. Is it a
Yeah.
little too late for Phasma to come in? Would you have wanted it earlier? Worked just fine for you? What do you guys think?
I'm happy for all the Phasma we get. I understand. I want more Phasma too, but
Yeah.
I think her stuff here is great.
Yeah, me too.
It's used effectively for me. Love
I
it.
love-
That was
Yeah.
great.
The old blaster's back for Leia.
Yep. It's great to see her stun someone finally.
Yeah. I love the Star Wars tradition of a PA announcer in the background talking about transports.
Yep, always. And how do you feel, Jennifer, that Holdo does see the kind of guy he is, both for the good and the bad?
Yeah, I think I think that she likes him, but she knows that he is a bit of a loose cannon, and she's got to keep order.
Yeah.
So she's just doing her job.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been in that position as a manager, too, where it's like you got someone, you're like, you're so good.
Yeah.
Can't wait to break you. Because you're going to be better.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that moment.
Great
This
moment.
is such great acting between the two of them.
Between these two fantastic actresses.
And things that you're not going to get in other movies that don't just have the actual historical weight. Some of that, Laura Dern's a fantastic actor, but some of that weight came of like, I grew up watching you and now I get to say this to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brings that extra weight.
And then having read Leia, Princess of Alderaan, knowing Holdo and
Right.
Leia's relationship, friendship, it makes that scene extra special.
Handcuffs beeping. Handcuffs beeping.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, I know I've said this before about The Last Jedi, is portraying the villains as petulant and overconfident and fearful. All Snoke wants is, where is Luke Skywalker? Because I'm afraid of him. And he's so condescending to Rey.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think sees no value in her, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think even Palpatine would be like, how could we use this?
Yeah, she might be a problem.
Yeah.
Let's watch out for her.
Right.
Yeah. He is, like you said, condescending, mocking,
Just diminishes her.
and prepared to kill her, I believe.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
oh,
With
yes.
the cruelest stroke,
Yeah.
as they'll say soon.
oh, he's so demeaning.
Such a jerk.
He has that, obviously, with Kylo. I still think
Yes.
his Knights of Ren line, to me, I take as mocking more than the vaunted, powerful Knights of Ren.
Yes.
Even you,
and your little teenage friends.
master of
Yeah.
the... Even you behind the mall,
Yeah.
hanging out at Orange Julius,
Yeah,
could
right.
not have blah, blah, blah.
And a great reveal for both of them.
Yeah, and that
Kylo
look
and
for
Rey.
Kylo where he's like, all
Yeah.
right, when I say kill the past, how about you too, jerk?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think Kylo in that moment is not surprised that Snoke did it, but it's like, oh, I see what's going on.
I see you are manipulating me. You are playing me. Oh,
Yes.
man, look at the stubble. So gross.
This.
And in general, I just love seeing sort of bigger and different uses of the Force. It makes sense as Snoke coming from, the unknown regions, coming from a different place, a different understanding of the Force.
True.
Also, I want Poe's jacket.
I mean, it's fair.
Always. I want all his jackets. Future jackets he hasn't worn yet. I want those too. She is a bigger exposition machine than Rick Oley and Seal Bibble put together, and she does it more elegantly.
Yeah.
really
It
does.
doesn't feel like
She really
it.
does.
Yeah.
Larma Daisy.
A great character actress.
And I love that it's a command decision from Leia, again, to just like, you're not in the brig for what you did. You should have been. You could have been.
Yeah.
We got bigger fish to fry right here.
Yeah. No offense to Admiral Akbar.
No. Rest in peace. And shortly, the Raddus.
Yeah, and I think it's such a big part of this. The Godspeed Rebels line is awesome. That Poe is going to come to see, like, she will be brave when the time is right. She will do something crazy and ridiculous when the
Right.
time is right.
And heroic.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not seeing the ATM-6s in the background, am I? Or just the regular AT-ATs?
Oh, it's hard to tell. We're going to have to really scan for this. Now, do you think that they had all of these troops ready to go whenever they were going to finish chasing down the resistance? Or did they call them all to say, like, everybody get out of bed. I know you're on shift, whatever, but come down here because we've got 2 people we want to torment.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of come watch kill people because we could do it to you.
Yes,
Right.
intimidation.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
it hits Finn right there.
Yeah.
First with the just what'd you do and man.
What do you have? Yeah, it shows how smart Finn is that he's right away like, what does he have that's valuable to the First Order?
Right.
Fire at will, Commander.
Yeah, and I think this is an important moment for Finn, not only the connection he's made with Rose and the lessons he's learned there, but seeing like, oh, these people's lives are really at stake from my actions.
Yeah.
I can help them or I can hurt them, and I hurt them.
Well, I don't know why. I'm sad to see that guy get killed, but it's a weirdly beautiful shot.
It really is. The full speed planetfall.
Boom. I think at this point, Kylo's locked in on what he's going to do.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He saw his opening.
Yeah. Driver plays the doubt and the confusion well, but up until this moment, and he's locked in.
Yeah, I feel like that breaking point, I never really felt that way before, but I feel that breaking point is really that when he realizes that Snoke manipulated them.
I just love
The lightsaber
it.
bash on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's petty.
It's
It
petty.
really
Again,
is.
it's petty. It's comedy, but it's used effectively. It's used to teach what this character's thinking.
Right.
And it's so theatrical that he literally opens a curtain to this destruction.
Right.
And I don't think he planned this as precisely as Palpatine planned Luke watching the
Right.
destruction of the fleet on Endor, but it certainly has those rhythms.
Yeah. Taunting. Ooh, you're sassy.
Yeah,
That,
right.
that fiery spit of, I love all of his like B movie like dialogue, but I love that fiery spit of hope because it's so true about Rey.
Yeah. I still believe that is his old lightsaber we saw in the flashbacks that he modified and painted.
Oh yeah, that he
Yeah.
bled the crystal or yeah. And I like that he's still now he's applying Vader as a compliment. Like he
Yes.
rescinded it before, and now he's offering it.
In this moment, watching it the first time, I thought, all right, we're going to have them fight.
Yep.
Snoke gets away. We'll see him in 9, whatever.
Very unexpected.
No idea.
It was a delightful feeling in the theater to go, what the hell's going to happen next?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because I know he's not going to cut her down.
Right.
I'm starting to think of these lines just in day-to-day life, like when I'm mad at my printer or whatever. Like, I cannot be beaten. You're going to do this for me. I cannot be betrayed.
Yeah. Even at this
my
second, you're like, oh, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's still, when that blade comes out.
And that it's this blade, it's the hero's blade,
Yeah.
and that it's going to cut him down. And that look on his
Shocking.
face.
Yeah.
Just,
And here's
Oh, my.
absolutely one of the best shots in Star Wars.
Yep.
Rey
catching the hero's saber again.
again. And I'm telling you, the crowd is
Yeah, the crowd's going
Screaming at
wild,
this
right?
stuff.
Yeah. Every time I saw it in the
man.
theater, the crowd
Yeah.
is alive. And that slow-mo is so
Oh,
great
this
here.
scene is incredible.
all right. So we didn't get 2 lightsabers fighting each other.
But-
I'm okay with it
Yeah,
because I
because
got this.
this is amazing. Yeah.
at
And I
this.
love that little Rey poke of like, oh, are you open? Boop.
Yep.
Right. I know that some people wanted to see the Knights of Ren instead of the Praetorian Guards. To me, the Praetorian Guards, first of all, they look incredible.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
you'd have some complications with the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, what point does that serve? You know?
Yeah. And I do hope to see him in 9, and that will be a
Yeah.
criticism of the sequel trilogy in its entirety if they don't pop up in 9.
They have
Sure.
to.
Sure.
But for this movie, I think this works great.
Maybe. Just love that line. It's a comedic beat. It's deep. It's a comment on people's views.
Her wild leg.
bad.
I love the wild leg.
Right.
And the screaming.
I love this moment.
Oh.
Yeah. All of her fighting in here,
Yeah.
I love that. I love the that. But I love that you get the sense of like she is not fighting the way like Yoda would frown upon this. Of like we don't scream and make mean faces at her. You get the sense that she is the future of the Jedi, but she's different. She's not going to follow the same kind of stuffy rules. You know.
And I loved I think it was in the documentary, we saw the behind the scenes of them training for this sequence.
Yeah.
And both Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley gave 100% when they were training. I mean, it was really powerful to watch.
And I know some people have brought up, like, well, why don't they just joke them or throw them with the Force? And for me, my headcanon is always like, the Force does take some amount of concentration. So if you're really swinging for your life, it's a risk. You open yourself up to do a Force push.
Right.
A matter of survival.
That's my headcanon, at least.
And it works for me. I would expect Kylo would have a better chance of doing that. Obviously, here now, Rey's untapped, unfocused, but he's concentrating on this.
Yeah.
Because he's a badass fighter, too.
Yeah. Exactly.
He knows what he's doing. Almost.
Yeah. And I love her cool improvisational type moves.
Love it.
And
Yay!
And the trust here for her to throw him the lightsaber.
And if you have I know pointed out before, Joseph, she yells Ben. This is Ben to her.
Ben, that's who he is. Yeah.
She believes.
But just like to go from a few days ago in the Forest and the power of that blade coming to her, and now she willingly gives it to him.
Right. Yeah.
And we did get some severed hands, technically.
Yes, technically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a great moment for me the first time I saw it, of that sinking feeling, because I was like, this is so cool. What's going to happen now? In the realization that, nope, he's committed to his path. It just wants it to be his path.
Exactly.
And that is why I really just love the decision. We'll get all of our Snoke answers later on. We'll find out what happened. I get it, but this is Kylo's journey.
He has to kill Snoke in order to be...
Yeah. It's just, again, I mean, that happens in 9. It's a great moment. Don't take away, wouldn't take anything away from me, but it happens here, and I don't know where they go next, and I love that storytelling.
And here we get another controversial moment.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it, Jennifer? Are you happy?
They were nobody. I want them to be nobody's filthy junk traders.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is telling the truth. Maybe he is kind of digging turning the dagger, so to speak. But I think it's true.
They could unravel it, go a different direction. I absolutely could see that, but it's just it won't take away how powerful of a decision it was for me, for Rian Johnson to make.
Yes,
this is her biggest obstacle. You're nobody. You have no place in the story, but you have me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it connects back to his sort of feeling the burden of legacy, of like, I think that we should be powerful as individuals, regardless of where we come from. And you didn't come from anything, so we can be together in awesome Star Wars emo pain together.
Yeah, and it's so. Sorry,
go ahead, Jen. Yeah.
It's such an abusive line. You're nobody, but you mean something to me.
Right.
Oh,
that's classic real world stuff of like your family isn't really here for you. It's only me. Right.
Right.
Yeah. No. The think of it from his perspective, like you just said there, Joseph. Just that like legacy sucks.
Yeah.
According to Kylo.
Right.
And you're free of it.
Even the one I wanted, which is Vader's legacy, that's gotten me some trouble. That's not,
Yeah, now I feel embarrassed because I was just cosplaying Vader with a silly mask,
Right.
I love Rey's decision here.
Yeah.
I'm not naive anymore.
Now, do you feel that, the more I think about it, I feel like in this moment, there's a really strong choice to not have her do something that, like, look back at the fleet or connect to her affection for Finn or think of anything she's learned from Luke. But she makes that decision out of just strength of staying the course.
Yeah.
That she believes in hope. She believes in her friends.
Right.
Of course she would never join Kylo, even though she understands where she's coming from, even though he's pointed out this horrible pain of hers.
Right.
Do you feel like it should have had a moment where we see a decision from her, or is it just that no, that's who she is? She's
I think it's
a true hero. She's not going to let Luke down the way Kylo did.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I like the true hero aspect of it there too. I like that.
And this, here we go. Ah, look at that. Another great visual.
Great
Yeah.
Star Wars visual. And nope, I do not think that should be Akbar. I will never
No.
think.
I don't
never
think it should be
that
Akbar. I don't think it should be Leia.
No.
So much happening in
Yeah.
this sequence.
Yeah, I love the execution troopers and their laser axes. Executioner troopers.
The sound of silence.
Yes. The lack of sound.
Amazing.
So great.
Yeah, and I hadn't really paid a lot of attention to the quality of that sound. Jennifer, you just did this great episode about Ben Burt. That's a Ben Burt-worthy sound. That was a unique explosion, right?
So unique. It's just perfect. It almost sounds like a cry.
Yeah, there's something like plaintive about it. Yeah.
Plaintive wail. Yeah, no, that to me is it's one of my favorite moments in any Star Wars film.
Yeah, and I just to go back to the actual lightsaber separating, I think that is another good meditation on like, well, it's been that lightsaber we know has been used for good. It's been used for bad. In a sort of thematic way, it's almost breaking under the weight of its own history. And like Rey and Kylo need to forge something new.
Right.
Maybe Rey will out of that lightsaber.
So I had a little bit of issues with BB-8 and Canto Bight. I mean, when I say little, I'm talking tiny issues. But
Yeah.
I actually really like this. You forgot
Cheers.
about the droid,
Yeah.
You forgot about it.
Yeah.
Your hubris, the First Order. Your
Exactly.
I have tried putting my little BB-8 in our chicken walker at home. He does not fit. So gonna make him fit somehow.
I love that the blaster just flies off of
Yeah,
Phasma.
out of that special Nubian armor, right?
Yep.
And here's just narratively great. Finn could run and save what he loves, but he decides to fight what he hates.
And look at his reflection in her helmet. I love
Yeah.
that.
I love this fight. So, like,
Me
while I'd
too.
take more Phasma, I love this just
Right.
great hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. Phasma's great. We want more. But
Yeah, she's
and again, I
so
think
brutal.
I think we also want a little bit more Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah.
That's the truth. But as you guys have told me from reading Phasma, she cannot take off her mask.
Yeah.
It's part of her culture.
Yeah, and which is why Delilah Dawson wrote that book, I think, after, the script was probably written, and I think it explains this moment.
This is a huge defeat
Yeah.
for her to have some of the mask peeled away. Yeah, I don't care how on the nose it is. I love that he's
No.
literally ascending and he is taking the mantle of, yes, I want to be a rebel.
Right. Is she dead? Do we think she'll come back in 9?
Ooh, I do not want her to be. That's my vote.
No.
Yeah? You want
Yeah.
that to be the end?
No. I want her to be alive.
Oh,
very,
okay.
very much.
Yeah, I'd like to see her come back. Not it's one hand, yeah, it's a fun running bit, but beyond that, survive, come back. But I don't know. I think at this point it might be safe to say she's dead, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
What do you want, Jennifer?
I want her to come back.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of a running gag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She never dies.
Kerr's weakness
that.
properly manipulated.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
That's what
this-
happens to your face.
I love this
Yeah.
scene.
This is amazing.
Donald Gleason making this call.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the return.
So great.
Yeah, Driver's every step he takes is Kylo, is Ben. It's heavy and conflicted. It's powerful. It's
Right. There's like this
Yes.
weight in his shoulders that's making him walk
Yeah.
awkwardly, right? Like,
yeah.
He acts from his hair to his toes. I love that.
he's losing his mind. I love
Daddy is dead.
it. Exactly. Where will we get our porridge? And I think, realizing really what he's in for then.
Yeah.
I was very excited.
Yeah.
Oh, here's this shot.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is a legacy shot right there.
Absolutely. That is just so beautiful.
Excellent costume design as well.
Yeah.
I was excited to see the Vulptexes in action.
Yeah.
Learn more about the Crait surface, the salt surface.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also just like that it's the establishing shot, that the weight of Leia, but also just that breath before we get back into the action.
Yes.
It's just really well
Right.
done.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
right. Yep. It's a pause. Love that. Leia's fired.
Yeah.
Yep.
She ain't afraid. She's the front lines of action.
I love that.
A droid.
Scritch his belly. Scritch his belly.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
kiss
like
his
what I
head.
did with my
Oh, yeah.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a nice reminder that Rose is a true believer, that she's been in this fight, that she knows the people who died.
Right.
Yep. I love the connection, the simple connection that Crait was part of the Rebel Alliance, part of its history.
Right.
I like that kind of stuff.
Do you like that Poe has kind of taken command here? Like, he's really throwing out orders and pulling it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knows he has to. There we go. My mom would call that swearing.
Yes, right. That's one.
So cute.
Look at that little.
Jennifer, how do you feel about Big Ass Door? Too earthly for you?
I did not even notice it until
Okay.
people started getting upset about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. It did not bother me. It doesn't take me out of the moment.
It doesn't.
Okay.
It didn't bother me to take me out, but when he said it the first time, I went like, "Oh, all right,
Right.
we got that in Star Wars now."
Yeah, the only reason it bothers me is I feel like if that was a normal thing to do, is to add ass to the end of words like we do on Earth. I feel like Han Solo would have done it a lot more.
Absolutely. That is true.
Maybe they picked it up,
Yeah.
later on.
So we'll find out in episode 9. Does Lando?
Did he answer the call?
Did he answer the
Yeah,
call?
it's like, yes.
That's right.
He was sleeping.
The potential time jump between 8 and 9 will make it less dramatic,
Right.
but
Yeah. And another shout out to Battlefront 2, which recreates this
Yes.
environment incredibly well.
yes, the Kessel Mines.
Oh, here comes one of the best moments of the movie.
Yep.
General now Emot,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Daylun Emot.
There's Gareth Edwards, Rogue One's director.
Salt. Sergeant Salty Trench, I believe.
I love on
Sharp. It's Sharp, not
Yeah.
Trench. He's in a trench.
He's in a
Sharp.
trench. I love Battlefront 2 piloting these little ski speeders.
They're so hard to pilot,
Yeah,
I
I can
think.
imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they make them rickety like they are in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a Rick O'Lee line for you right there.
Exactly. So here's a thing I wrestle with a little bit.
Okay.
I love everything that happens in this ski speeder battle. It
Right.
looks visually amazing. I wish that the ski speeders sometimes had a little bit of effect. Like that they maybe would have had a couple other little small surface ships to take out.
Take out or see them take it. Yeah, I see
because
what
like
you're saying.
the Battle of Hoth, like the snow speeders don't get many hits in, but it's fun that they
Right.
get a hit in here or there.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything about the overall course of it. It's not like I wish they'd taken out the cannon. Everything that happens is great, but I just wish that they maybe would have, at least had some shots and taken out some troops or
I could get behind that.
Yeah. Had
Or at
some
least
impact.
Some of
Makes
these
sense.
guns seemed them a little more. It was desperate. I mean,
it was
supposed to be desperate.
Yeah, I guess
but
it's
know what
supposed
you
to be an utter failure, right?
Yeah.
Except the Falcon's the only thing that puts a dent
Can do it.
in that. All it does is really draw the fighters away.
mean.
The
old,
Guerrilla Walkers, which I really love.
Yeah.
Yeah. ATM-6.
This is so, this shot here of the sudden chaos, those
Yeah, yeah.
straight lines, then madness.
Yes.
Great use of the TIE fighter sound.
Yeah. Soldiers groaning.
Yeah.
Love that sound.
Like how hammering away it is. Yeah.
It's sad the results for our rebels, but
Yeah. But yeah, obviously, in order to set up the great stuff coming with Luke, it does need to be a failure. I just would have liked to see a couple little shots.
and I was so wrapped up in the battle at this moment,
Ah.
I didn't realize. That's
Oh,
right,
there-
the Falcon.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. See the little shadow there. There it is.
In that triumphant score.
Yeah. There we go.
Yes,
Porg
scream your little mouth out, Porg.
Longer than we saw in the trailer.
Yeah, I
definitely-
love that moment.
Battle cry.
And again, that's not a Jedi-like thing. Like, this is fun.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
But it has like this, just youth and enthusiasm and hooray.
I love that line too.
All fighters. You know, they think so little of those ski speeders.
Yep.
They could afford it. But Kylo also, not a great battle general at this point. He's all emotion right
Yep.
Right.
He's mad at something else that's a part of his legacy.
now. Yeah.
And one of my favorite lines. See, this is the part, like, there's so many moments towards the end here that are so rewarding if you are a long-term Star Wars fan that celebrate legacy. That
Right.
the reason it still almost gives me shivers, that funny line of they hate that ship, to think of the length of time that this ship has been opposing evil.
Right.
And nobody can take it out. It's always just, it's the one that blasted out of Mos Eisley. It's the one that Vader had to chase through an asteroid field. The one that
Can't
blew
get
up
that
the second
ship.
Death Star. They can't get rid of this damn ship. It's legacy and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, these Porg moments.
Yeah.
Reigniting my love for them.
Ooh, more just beautiful cinematography,
Yeah.
composition, and just the colors. They're in Veers formation. I love the toe walkers, or whatever they're officially called. I can't remember right now, but look at those legs. I mean, that's some heavy duty construction.
Oh, yeah.
Great,
Who's in charge here?
great moment.
Yeah. Funny, but also, like,
Yeah.
everything that's going on up there is that, like, who is
Power play,
doing
yeah.
what?
Right.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh.
I sometimes, though, I fall victim to counting the deaths.
Yeah.
Because we know there was 13, and sometimes I think the count's a little not accurate, but not just in this movie, in any movie.
In any movie,
I
yeah.
have a habit of
Right.
doing that. So it's direct, but Poe has learned his lesson. He's changed. He's adapted.
And it's so elegant that it combines with Finn, where Finn has learned, like, no, I need to believe in something. I need to go all in the way Rose is. I believe in this. And then Poe has
Right.
learned this more, like, slightly more advanced lesson
Yeah.
of their times to go all in and their times to just survive.
Yeah. They didn't have time to sit down and talk. What did you learn, Finn?
Yeah. And then Rose comes in with her action based on her thematic journey of saving what you love.
Right.
Come on, Crystal Crittles. Love that radio traffic. That's some really good radio traffic. I never really focused on it until
Yeah. It's great to have the subtitles
Yeah.
to really pick up on radio chatter.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before, but we were all in on first viewing that, is Finn going to die?
I thought he was going to die.
I had a good 2 or 3 beats here where I was like, wow, all right, I guess Boyega didn't sign for 9. All right.
Yeah.
I was going to be very angry if he died in this moment.
Yeah. It's, I think a compliment to the film that it had played with our notions of what will happen enough
Yeah.
to give us doubt.
Right. And here she comes.
I love this shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, love
look
the
at that.
baseball slide in.
Like, look, I've learned my lesson, but I still look
Yeah.
smoking hot in this jacket and do cool ass stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Finn here. I actually love his little slip when he comes running.
Oh,
up here.
yeah.
Oh, right.
And it's a fair question. Why is the First Order not paying attention to him right there? I just don't think they care or notice.
Nah.
Yeah, I think they probably just look like little dead specks. You know, maybe you can imagine Kylo is fighting with Hux about it up there right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, yeah. There's some good headcanon. Hux, kill them.
All right, Jennifer,
Yes.
how do you feel about the kiss?
You know, I say this is my only criticism, is that there's not a lot of chemistry happening in this moment.
Not a lot of heat.
There's not a lot of heat.
If it's intended specifically for that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it didn't have that kind of satisfaction. I was just kind of like, oh, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the point.
I like the idea that he is so socially unaware that, like, I'm talking about you. I saved you because I love you. Yes, I mean it's a larger point, but I'm specifically, but I don't know that the moment communicates that.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's the big question. Did Lando hear and is not coming? How are you going to handle that?
How are you going to handle that?
I mean, I still think it takes some time.
True.
I mean,
True.
even with Lightspeed Hyperspace, I mean, if you're sitting around playing Sabacc on Cloud City and someone says, hey, Leia's in trouble, he might even be like, all right, let me grab my cape.
Right.
Let me go
But
get it.
I guess the idea is he hasn't radioed back saying, I'm just
I'm
picking
on
up my
the way.
cape and I'm on the way.
True.
So maybe it will just be ignored and it'll be one of these things that we get to poke fun at for decades.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Oh, exciting.
So, again, much like with the Falcon before, I was so wrapped up in the action, I forgot. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Luke's still around.
I was so waiting when she was sitting down of like, he has to walk in, right? And it felt so elated when he
Right.
did.
So he, of course, is connected with her. The music.
Oh, this was almost too much emotionally.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
I mean, the fact that they shot this not knowing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, both in story, watching this, these two characters, and obviously.
These two actors. Mm-hmm. And I love how Leia sees this as his whole journey of their lives.
Yeah.
Not just this battle. This ongoing battle between good and evil that's been their whole lives.
And it's, so I hold on to that moment a lot when talking about Kylo's redemption or possible redemption.
Right.
No one's ever really gone. And it's important that Luke says, I came back to face him and I can't save him. Not he can't be saved.
Right.
I can't save him.
That's true.
And I think you're right, Jennifer. Extra weight now, right?
Oh, extra weight. Would we have liked to see them all three back on screen? Of course.
Sure.
But I thought this was beautifully done.
Yeah, but Han's presence is there.
Yeah, exactly. His presence is there.
And she knows right here.
Right there.
Leia knows.
Yeah.
He is not here.
Yeah, I think she's starting to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful moment of debate. 3PO does seem to know he's not there, but what does he see? Hello, Hamill children.
Right.
Pal Nathan.
Oh, music.
Oh, this was so thrilling.
And again, building up through all of these different tiny bits of light. Now he's walking out of this small
Yep.
portal of light fully into the light.
Fully into the line. Animal sounds used to create that part of that creaking sound.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really? For the
Yeah.
gorilla walkers,
Oh,
right?
cool.
The ATM-6. I think it's so great that he is standing there in this devastation of violence and war.
Yeah.
Exactly what he doesn't want, and then the literalness of that shot, of course.
I want that poster hanging above me here, or
Yes.
in my house here.
I won't be complete as a human until I have a 3 3/4 inch action figure of this Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Projection crate Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Projection Luke.
Yeah. I love this
I
little
love it.
settling.
It's such a little detail that is so Star Wars. It's so great.
Yeah. Utterly unnecessary, right? For that
Yeah.
one walker to take
Yeah.
an intimidating step forward like they're in a saloon in the Old West, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's the details of action and storytelling. Love that moment.
This
I love
is-
that guy looking at him.
It's like, wow, this guy is
Yeah.
so... He's not intimidating right now.
Yeah.
He is so fearful.
Yeah.
In that moment where even his underlings can see all this is coming from fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even we've talked about this in ForceCenter podcast that Hux is kind of seeing a little window
Yeah.
Right.
where not that a little bit of like the great line. I'm sorry I stepped on it, Hux.
No.
A little bit of both. A little bit of like someone needs to step in, and I can maybe have a little advantage over Kylo. He's crazy. You know?
Yeah, and it has even more weight given how kind of buffoonish she started at the beginning of the film. That
Yep.
he's the one who's like, oh, I really need to.
That's an
pull this
excellent
together.
point. Huck's now using humor to undercut his villain.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I'm good with that moment.
Yeah,
I
It
love
is very
that
Hamill,
moment.
but I'm good with it.
Yeah, but it worked to me. It works as a character moment. He knows that Kylo fears him, and he is taunting him.
Yeah.
Always gets a huge laugh in the theater.
Oh, that's so great.
I do wonder about that moment where where Finn is dragging Rose, kind of skirting around the edge of that super dramatic scene we're seeing with Luke.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
there are little tunnels, so maybe he's kind of
There are little tunnels. Maybe he pops
maybe got
up.
a little closer
Yeah.
to the edge. But yeah.
It's a fair little question.
Again, there are two lessons matching up together.
Two lessons matching up. I will say that shot.
Look at that shot.
It's
Yeah.
the best Twitter banner in the world.
The best delivered one line
yeah.
in the
Yes.
history of cinema, maybe.
Yeah.
My bias showing there, but it's so
Love that stomp.
Stomp.
There's that
Yep,
stomp.
that petulant stomp. And just showing how out of control Kylo is, that he doesn't take a second to go, where'd that lightsaber come from?
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't we just rip it in half?
Now this is I wouldn't mind. This is almost like a homage to prequel dialogue.
A little too on the
It's
nose?
a little too on the nose for me personally. It's one of my moments with him. I'm fine with him repeating Holdo's words and everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel like it. I understand it being a little on the nose, but I feel like it also really helps to make it super explicit to the audience.
Sure.
That's what Luke is doing.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, remember that number for trivia.
Oh, I got that
Ah.
one. I'm locked and loaded on 15,428.
Where are they?
Jennifer, do you like that turn of phrase, the crystal critters?
Crystal critters. I love it.
I love it too. Carrie.
Yeah.
Super funny and super to the point, right?
Yep,
She's
yep.
trained her new leader.
Such a Carrie
Yep.
moment.
That little look of pride there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's all worked out according to her, you know? Who knows if they're going to get out, but she's like, all right. Beacon pulsating rapidly, says the closed captions.
That's going to be the title of episode 9 for sure. Beacon pulsating rapidly.
Hey,
Little
Porg saves the day. He's the
Chitter
radar.
Porg, chitter, yeah. It's pretty cool that one of the exotic animals of Star Wars, he's the other exotic animal of Star Wars.
It's like any animal that looks out the window, right?
Right. Love that shot.
Yep.
Oh, I love here the shot coming up where it wiggles through the rock like a dog.
Yeah.
A dog would.
And again, like now we have a scene where there should be a little crack opening to the light,
Right.
but it's entirely closed.
Yes.
I love that they initially tried to attach crystals to a dog.
Yeah.
That didn't work so well.
That's great.
Not so
Yeah.
well.
And the establishing
And
shot
then
that
we
he affects the. I had such feels seeing this. Because it is Mark Hamill, it is the same actor. His poses, his body language are so evocative of the original trilogy.
Right, right. Yeah.
His stance of holding that saber.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Little Matrix Skywalker.
Exactly.
So that's got to laugh in some of the viewings because it's so petulant.
It is.
But hey, I think again he's harkening back to Anakin and
Yeah.
Tashi Station Luke.
Right.
And here comes what I'm going to get for my back tattoo. So powerful to me, and so coming around to him embracing legacy and embracing hope and embracing the next generation. It's just, to me, I still get chills. It's so powerful.
Hearing this hopeful music.
Yeah.
As well.
And hopefully music. And I love that Hamill's face is older and weathered, and his eyes are red and blurry, and it speaks volumes to me. It's just this great moment.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done it. I've lived this life.
Yeah. And accepting that, conflict can't be avoided sometimes. This is unfortunate, but this conflict has to happen, and a Jedi will rise to the challenge.
Right.
And once again, the blade goes down.
I did have such tension in the theater that there would be an ugly striking down of Luke.
I know.
And I was so relieved when there wasn't. Lightsaber crackling.
Seeing it for the first time, I'm not picking up on the little clues, so I'm thinking he's here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like, what's the deal with the lightsaber? That's all I had to process.
Yeah. That's
And then this was so great. The dawning realization from Kylo that he'd been had.
Yep.
Look on, I think now Ben's face. It's Ben at this point.
Right.
I failed.
Yeah.
Once again, not as cool as I thought.
Yeah, my fear of not living up to Luke, to Anakin. Yeah, huge round of applause in the theater every time I saw this.
Rousing ovation.
Such an unexpected twist.
An unexpected twist, but also just the perfect solution to this
shot.
incredibly difficult challenge of how do you fight the good fight and still be a pacifist.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Luke found a way for him. Not for everyone every time, but for him.
Right.
And here begins the emotional roller coaster, right?
Yeah. And we can talk about it here, man. I'm thinking, they didn't kill him. Yay. And then I started having doubts right here.
And this shot looks so much like when he sees Ben on Hoth.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I mean, we could... It was when the music kicked in is when I figured, wait a minute, something's not right.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
I felt like he was seeing something physical, and now I'm more of the mind that he's making a realization that he is dying, and he's reaching out to make this connection because he doesn't want them to think that he died sad.
Right.
Or broken.
Right.
And in a way, this is kind of, I think, completing his training of Rey, of like, hey, Rey, you were right. I took action. You were right that people need a legend to believe in, and they need hope. And I did this. Thank you.
That is a peace and purpose breath right there.
Oh, my God.
Twins,
So beautiful.
Gutted me.
Yeah, and to just think where he went from, this backwater planet of Tatooine to now he is on the highest pinnacle of the light of the Force.
Yeah.
And he went all the way there.
And I know his metallic hand went with him. Just sometimes you have to let it go.
Yeah, in our galaxy, they say you can't take it with you. In Star Wars, you can if you want.
You can.
Yeah.
Love this
Yep.
shot.
There you go.
Direct reference to Revenge of the Sith, confirmed by Rian Johnson.
Exactly.
Here's your 501st call out, right? Yep.
I love this look from Hux.
It's Hux in a weird way has grown in this movie.
He has.
Yes,
There is
he
an
has.
arc for Hux.
There is.
And that look of like, you idiot, you did this. Jennifer, how do you interpret this cutoff between Rey and Kylo
Between
here?
Rey and Kylo.
I interpret it as door closing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right, emotionally door closing of
emotionally,
like
she's not. I'm not going to let you play me again.
Right.
This is it. You now have to suffer the consequences of your actions.
exactly. You made your choices.
That's right.
Yeah, and her kind of, I think, saying, I ain't going to be saving you either.
Exactly.
Now, I think there's some interesting dialogue here in the subtitles. It's not quite audible. I love that she checks in on his antenna.
Yes.
That was crazy, man, says Connix. You're not no one.
You're not knowing.
Okay.
They're those books.
They're them
There's those
The
books.
past lives. It has not been killed. It'll be learned from.
Yeah, and as far as the Rey Poe meeting, I understand, but I think it's more powerful here.
When we get to the Outer Rim, I have a contact there. Lando?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm so glad that they have this specifically so it completes that relationship between Luke and Rey.
Good shot of the crystal.
Yep. So we know the crystal's still there.
Yeah.
And this, I freeze framed the second I got any copy so I could see who's talking to who, what are they chatting
I
about.
love the Porg on top of her, too.
Yeah, it's so great.
This was great. The importance of myth.
Yeah. And I give credit to my friend Paul Cornell, writer of Doctor Who and a bunch of other things. He was the first one who pointed out to me of just like how much this is a reinforcement of the legacy of Star Wars in the real world of like, you should play with your action figures and think about how you could be like your heroes. They're literally telling the legend and playing with action figures.
So Broom Kid calls the broom to him. Some people still miss that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little
right.
subtle.
It is very subtle.
And nothing new that random kids are born with the Force. That's been happening since the prequels.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still has the ring, the symbol, the hope.
Yeah. To me, you cannot watch this last sequence with
Yeah.
cynicism. It is about what Luke just did. It cements it, drives it home,
Absolutely, yeah.
and the fight will go on even beyond episode 9. We'll always
Yeah.
be there.
You can try to kill the past, but the past becomes legend, it becomes myth, it becomes inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
you need to move on from it, but you can learn from it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
The past is not killed, it is validated, I think.
Validated.
Validated by Broom Kid.
Yeah.
The Last Jedi story.
Ben Morris, that's the pilot. That's your pilot right
okay.
there.
Oh,
Ben
nice,
Morris.
nice.
Yeah.
Do we know? I don't think John Williams has ever had a cameo. Has
He's
he?
not.
No.
John Williams better be in episode 9. My
there we
list of
go.
episode 9, speculate responsibly, desires growing every day.
I think we should start a campaign there in ForceCenter.
Yeah.
Williams and 9.
Williams
like
and
it.
9.
Lando and John Williams.
Yeah, they're buddies. They're hanging out together,
Yeah.
right? They're playing sabacc.
I think this is my favorite movie so far of this new era of Star Wars.
Okay, yeah.
I love this.
Of all
movie.
the Disney ones.
Of all the,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too.
Well, Jennifer, what about it speaks the most to you? Is it the sort of ideas about generational passing things on as a parent? Is it the lessons about fighting to survive, saving what you love? What is it?
I think for me, it is about we use these myths. George Lucas used these stories to tell us lessons, right? So what can we learn from this? Failure. Failure is the greatest teachers. Our heroes fail. That is not the end of the story. It's how they recover from that. And so I think a lot of people get caught up on how Luke is disillusioned and whatnot. But that, to me, this is a much more modern story for our times. I love the kind of populist idea that you can be a nobody from nowhere and be incredibly powerful in the Force. That's why
Right.
I do hope that she's not anybody, from some sort of line.
Right, and that's not a new idea, like we were saying,
No.
to the galaxy of Star Wars. It's just being underlined and celebrated in The Last Jedi.
Exactly.
Because nobody takes you aside in the prequels and goes, remember, Plo Koon was no one.
Right.
But his parents allowed him to be taken. He accepted the mantle. He rose to being a Jedi Master on the council. It's just he's there. But that was his story.
Yeah. And we see how legacy can actually, give baggage to someone like Kylo Ren. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think what connected for me was the growing up part of it, turning into the growing old. Not that, I'm not saying I'm old here. I'm getting older. We all are. And
every second.
You start every second. You start seeing things differently. And so this is something for the young fans to connect with. But then for us older generation of fans, this is an ode to George himself. Told us these legends. George told us these legends, and we're getting it retold to us again. And so it really, by the end of this movie, I was moved by what Ryan put on screen.
Yeah. I think for me that is ultimately, I love a lot of the themes. I love a lot of the ideas, kind of the meta text about what Star Wars means in our galaxy, all of those things. But I so looked up to Luke. I so related to Luke, of the kid who dreamed of a destiny. And then, your destiny comes with some challenges, and how are you going to face them? And great, you won, and on you go. But then as you get older and you have the weight of learning about the whole history of the world and your own mistakes, and how much that I think as humans, particularly older humans, you make one understandable mistake and it just guts you and it freezes you in place.
Yeah.
And you think, I did this one dumb thing, so how can I possibly move forward? And to have a movie that celebrates the hero of my youth feeling those things and finding a way forward, finding a way that's true to him and his beliefs, is just so powerful.
Yeah, and inspiring more than just 30 rebels on a planet, inspiring the galaxy again and forever.
Yeah,
forever.
That story is going to be told forever.
Yeah,
yeah, and also just the greatness of what's going on with Yoda, where Luke still needs his master, even though Yoda says, we are what they grow beyond. But like Luke is hung up on, I can't pick up a lightsaber and kill Kylo. I probably don't want to pick up a lightsaber and kill anyone. I don't want to take that action. And so he's forced to just be creative.
Right.
And that to me is just an amazing lesson to take through your life and your day, of just like, okay, if you are imagining that I want to get from point A to point B, and you think of only one path to point B, you can be like grumpy old Luke Skywalker and stop and go, is there another path to point B? Because I'm not willing to take that one?
Yeah.
That's powerful to me.
And also, on just a Star Wars level, there's some of the best action, some of the best shots, music, some of Williams' finest work. Just as a Star Wars movie, this has put so many great moments into the annals of this saga's history.
Yeah.
Some of the best performances, from Domhnall Gleeson to Adam Driver, obviously Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill. I feel like he should have been nominated for an Oscar
Absolutely.
for his performance. And I think what really impressed me is that when you get put in charge of a Star Wars film, there's a lot of expectations. And I feel like Rian Johnson is a true auteur. He had these bold ideas, a lot of risks, and he took them. And that's why I found this film so refreshing. And I can't wait to see what he does with the next trilogy.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, the documentary, The Director and the Jedi, I love that moment where the costume designer Michael Kaplan's kind of fighting with him.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with what you want to do. And Ryan sticks to his guns, and on the other side of it, something beautiful is created. And I think that's part of what went into this movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Despite what he says sometimes, I would say Mark Hamill learned that lesson.
Right.
He's just very outspoken, as he should be. He's Luke.
Yeah, he's telling his story. And the story that Mark Hamill has been telling again and again is, I was unsure. I had questions. And, they don't shy away from showing that in the documentary.
Yeah.
But he came around to seeing how fans, at least a lot of fans, not all fans, reacted positively to the movie. And he's got, great quotes out there, too, about like, oh, yeah, that would have been not great if it was just the same.
Yeah.
If Luke was just like, oh, yes, I am a master of the Force, and here are some lessons. Bye.
Yeah, and let me give a big fight. And that's the question I asked myself, because this movie made me think, and I did immediately come out of it going, yay, I had to think. How would I have wanted Luke to die? Even if that was in Episode 9, knowing that was probably going to happen coming into this new trilogy of films that our veteran players were going to be passing on, how would I want him to die? And I can't think of a better way now than this.
Yeah, I don't think this is particularly. Maybe you can find it in the movie, but I just also like the idea that he has never got past looking to the horizon and what's next.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you get the sense that he's almost like he knows he's going to become one with the Force through. Well, I guess he doesn't. He gets to the point of becoming one with the Force through a selfless act, and he gets to go on this new adventure. What's that reality going to be like for him?
Right.
And what's this even bigger galaxy going to be like for him?
And I
Right.
do believe we'll see him in 9.
I
think so,
really
too.
hope so.
The kind of a new version of the Force Ghost. The most complete version I think we'll ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Walt Disney Studios.
Thanks for making the Star Wars.
That's
Yeah,
right.
thanks for keeping it going. When
Yes.
There would have never been any more. I don't think George would have made him on his own. I really don't.
No.
I don't think so.
No,
either.
keeping the flame alive.
Well, that is brought to a close. The Last Jedi commentary here from the
Yay.
ForceCenter
So
Team.
excited to hit the microphone.
Thank you out there for making this happen on Patreon. It's a fun movie. I watch this movie a lot. That's probably the 22nd or so time I've seen it in its
Wow.
entirety.
Wow.
And I have it on just a lot of other times during the days, but it was fun to sit here and finally watch it for the ForceCenter brand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. And we're building towards more goals as we record this of unlocking commentaries for all the movies. So we could be talking a lot.
Ooh, yeah.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
ready, you guys. Let's do it.
I'm ready for Attack of the Clones. I want to dive into
sure.
one of the more controversial.
I like Attack of the
Oh,
Clones.
good.
Yeah,
Man, this is going
I
to be
do.
so much fun.
I mean, we'd love to do it there. I've got the couch ready to stretch out here. I'm ready
yeah,
to go.
I'll bring the death sticks.
Okay.
That's,
Okay.
All right, okay. I'll just for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'll partition myself off. Little
Sounds
death stick
good.
cubicle.
So we're going to wrap up here, but you can follow us on Twitter at ForceCenter Pod. That includes Instagram, too, there as well,
Yeah.
ForceCenter Pod, YouTube page. Jennifer, we have a new official ForceCenter URL, right, for YouTube?
Yes, we do. It's youtube.com/c/ForceCenter.
Yeah, that's for those listening on audio. If you're watching the video version, you're probably already there.
That's where you are.
And we have ForceCenterPod.podomatic.net, our website, with a lot more information on there. And then what we do on our own time, Joseph.
That's right. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram is at Joseph Scrimshaw. And then I have a lot of different comedy albums. I do live comedy shows. I have a podcast called Obsessed, and all of that is on my website at josephscrimshaw.com.
And Jennifer.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube, if you're watching us there, at Jennifer Landa.
That's right. You can follow me at Cadnapsock. I'm on YouTube more and more. I was always there. Now I'm actually starting to do stuff there. Just funny little stupid jokes. Also on Instagram TV. I got my daily motivation series where I fail to motivate you Monday through Friday. That's it for now. We'll watch another one soon. See y'all.
ForceCenter.